Hello everyone, welcome back to the EA Sports F1 Creator Series. You join us back live ahead of the Japanese Grand Prix. We're heading to Suzuka as part of tonight's racing festivities. I personally can't wait. It's great to be back here in front of you lot as well. Of course, we're proudly partnered by EA Sports F1 and also IMB Raceway. Big shout out to those as well. Like I said, my name is George Morgan. Joining me once again, the great, the brilliant, the majestic Tom Knight. Tom, welcome back, sir.
It's so good to be back. Fantastic broadcast and a fantastic race, I'm sure, waits in front of us this afternoon.
Yeah, lots to look forward to, folks. As we all know, Suzuka has been part of the calendar many times in the past in the Creator Series. This will be our 6th running here around this circuit. I will say, though, there's only one name that's really dominated thus far, and that's M-Sky Z. Obviously not taking part this season in the championship, so we will have a new winner now this season, which will be very exciting. Bushyan's, of course, taken the very first one back in Season 1, when it wasn't known as the EA Sports F1 Creator Series back then. But what can we expect tonight, TK? What is on the menu tonight when we head to Japan?
Japan's one of those circuits that really offers a bit of everything. You've got the technical aspect of Sector 1. The S is really, really vital that you get that right, especially in a full qualifying session. You then head to the second sector, some really high-speed corners. The kink to the right before we head to the spoon hairpin as well, some beautiful corners. And then, of course, who can forget Sector 3, 130R, a blazing dash towards the finish, finished off by the Casio Triangle. And it's just going to be one of those circuits that you have to get every single corner right.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a technical track, and as you so rightly say, the drivers will be pressurized into trying to make sure every move is on point. Before we get into the nitty-gritty and we start talking wildcards, let's introduce our third man as part of the broadcast team here tonight. Josh Richards back with us, and he's going to be on clipbook duty. Josh, any forest fires or grass fires that we're going to see around Suzuka, or what are your thoughts?
I mean, with what we've been seeing in real life, I expect we're probably going to be seeing the track all over. It's going to be on fire, probably going to have a few red flags as a result, and probably plenty of crashes as well.
Yeah, I'd imagine there will be. Hopefully the drivers have avoided the flaming hot Doritos and at the same time have packed their fire extinguishers. We'll wait and see. But yeah, we'll look forward to it. Thank you very much, Josh, for that. We will, of course, be talking about the wild card as well, Tom, and it's very exciting, isn't it? We're moving into another new wild card, something new, something different that we've introduced. Teammate swap after qualifying. So essentially, say for example, Benjamin Daly's P2 on the grid, you've got Adam Sanderson in P12. Essentially then, it's roles reversed. Ben moves into P12, Sanderson moves into second. I mean, that is going to be a very spicy wild card for this evening.
Oh, almost certainly. It's going to be one that really tests the camaraderie of a team. Are they going to play together? Are they going to give each other a slipstream or a tow, especially through that third sector where there isn't a DRS advantage on towards the home straight? Or are we going to see potentially the flip side of that as well? Are we going to see teammates potentially trying to cause carnage and damage to some other drivers? I mean, also, if one driver gets DSQ'd from quali, that also puts their teammate into disqualification as well.
It certainly does. And listen, this is not me saying that Adam Sanderson isn't worthy of getting a top 10, can I just say? I know I said P12, but it's just an example. Don't take it literally. I'm watching you, Brad Bomb. But yeah, everyone, if you want to check out social media, please do as well. If you want to stay up to date with everything around the Creator Series, it's at F1 Creator Series on Twitter, also known as X, Instagram, and of course, you can check us out on YouTube as well. We are live on 3 platforms here tonight as well, folks. Twitch, as well as YouTube, and as better than anybody, but literally you don't want to see that for the rest of the show. It's just not part of our run of show. But we are into Q1 now. 17 minutes to go, and the driver's heading out on outlaps. Of course, not forgetting we do have the intermediate tyre pole that we've got to consider as well. So yeah, points won and lost here at Suzuka here, TK. And I think whilst we do have wildcards in this championship, Japan in its own right is also a wildcard.
Certainly is. Again, we said it earlier, technical track, difficult track to get right, but also when you have those added elements, Inter's pole is going to be critical here, because if you mess up an Inter's pole, well, I mean, all it takes, as we saw in free practice in official F1 racing over the weekend, I mean, someone causing a collision at turn 1, maybe see a replica of doing in towards the barrier, that can hamper their teammates' progress. They can still try and go for pole, but of course they'll be starting all the way back down in P20.
Certainly will be. We've got many cars that are making their way out of the pits and now out onto the track. We've got 16 minutes also left to go here in this session. Aiden Gullis, Safso, Tiamat Marduk, as well as Formula Kai. We got that guy Vince, GB, Cal the Dragon, also making his way out onto the circuit. Lolinova down in 15th as well. Adam Sanderson, Tom, Razin Chai, and Noiguera. They are making the initial runs out onto the circuit. Only one swap for this evening. This is actually our most complete grid of the season, or at least one of them so far. We're swapping out Mr. Dale at Red Bull. He's going to be replaced by Mike Stachio, of course, famously known to be a confirmed Valtteri Bottas lookalike. Generally utilises the Kick Sauber shirt on his TikTok broadcast, but tonight he is in the Red Bull. So that is where we currently sit in terms of the driver window. Other than that, everything is the official lineup that we, of course, introduced at the very start of Season 9. What do you think are the challenges that Mike Stachio is going to face ahead of tonight's festivities, TK?
Well, I don't want to try and correct you. I had the impression that Matty D was in the Red Bull alongside someone else, hence why it was Cal the Dragon. I might be completely wrong on this, but that was my impression, that it was Matty D stepping in alongside Naraki.
My goodness, a bad call for George Morgan. That is awful. Would have expected better than that from myself. I'll have to double check. I could have sworn it was Mike Stachio tonight. Maybe I was wrong. But yeah, Mr. Dale not here tonight regardless. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Cal the Dragon is, of course, the name of Matty D in the Creator Series Discord. Currently sat P12 on our timing screen. Will be, of course, setting his first flying lap here of the session with just over 14 minutes or so to go. Intermediate tyres embraced by many across the grid. We'll keep you posted as to where they're going to stack. But Zafso, currently fastest in that middle sector. He's going to be the first to actually come across the line out of anybody so far. We've also got that guy Vince stealing the purple first sector. Let's see where Zafso goes. To the top with a 1:31.520. So that is our first time laid down on the board. We've also got the man in P15, Lolinova, coming up towards the line as well to set his first run. Hayden Gullis already retiring. Now that must be an incident. Not quite sure what has happened to him. We have got yellow flags in Sector 1, and it does look like there is a blue dot that is stuck right by, I think, Dunlop Curve. So a major moment there for Hayden Gullis, and that has led to an instant retirement. So bad news for Ricky 03, because if he sets in a stunning lap time to send him to the top, it's bad news for him because he'll be starting in 15th place, and Hayden Gullis will reap the rewards and make his way into the top 10 if Ricky does get up there.
Well, I made some jokes earlier about how often we see Hayden causing some calamity in qualifying. Of course, he's racing on pad this evening after his recent bon voyage to the UK. Not quite getting his sim rig completely set up yet, so I think he had maybe a bit over-optimistic ambitions for his ability on controller. I'm sure there's a few in the comment section across our various platforms that'd be quick to tell him that you've got to be a little bit more careful on the gas pedal. But alas, Hayden Gullis will at least, well, and Ricky 03, sorry, will start from P20.
Yeah, the intermediate times coming in thick and fast as well. Tiamat Marduk currently holding on to it now, and we're coming into the final 12 minutes and 59. If I'm not mistaken, that does mean that I think that means Tiamat Marduk has taken Inter's pole. Can we confirm, TK?
I think we can indeed confirm. It is crossed the 12-minute mark. Oh, no, we haven't crossed the 12-minute mark yet.
No.
12:45.
1 more minute to go.
Yeah.
And Karim's purple in the middle sector as well. He's just gone fastest. So there we go. Karim has stolen it away from Tiamat Marduk. I was just double checking the time, but yeah, you're absolutely spot on. It is indeed still with time to go. Around about half a minute remaining, I believe, in the session. So Karim currently holds the fastest time. Decent response, and bear in mind, the top two in this timing screen are in the battle for the championship, so it's fairly significant.
Certainly is indeed. Karim, of course, on his championship charge, trying to get that first. It could be a third for Ben, which would be absolutely almighty to see in terms of domination over the course of the Creator Series. We can't be far off from that 12 minutes. 6 seconds to be precise. Unless anybody is going to put a blinder in at the last minute, I don't think we're going to see anyone pip it out. And Formula Karim does indeed get that point for Inter's pole position.
Yep, certainly does. Congratulations, the additional point going Karim's way. And now we get down to the nitty-gritty of soft tyres. Now, bear in mind, we are running a full qualifying session, which does up the ante in terms of, you know, who is going to obviously get the best results, then by extension then have to swap over for the betterment of their teammate, who may not make it through into Q2 or by extension then Q3. Really do appreciate all of you tuning in as well, folks. Obviously, we appreciate there are some struggles at the start of this broadcast, but our wizard behind the scenes, Gareth Allen, is currently working on it. He does such a brilliant job. Riccio3 coming up towards the line now, goes fastest. It's the first time on soft tyres and has sent us into the stratosphere of the 128. So the 128.381. We've got other times coming through as well very, very soon. I can tell you that Matty D, Cal the Dragon, is out on the lap, and we've got yellow flags in Sector 3 as I believe Formula Krim is just gingerly making his way around the track before coming in to swap onto a slick set of tyres. But it's all quiet now out on circuit. Only one car out on track on softs, aside from Riccio3's slow down lap. We have got Cal the Dragon, of course, Matty D coming through the snake section now towards Dunlop Curve to register his first flying lap.
Certainly will do indeed. What can he try and register, of course, through Dunlop Curve? We'll get the split on the board. It's going to be a 32-0 in the first sector. Purple, according to the game, and I believe not far off the fastest time in the first sector as well. Not considerably off, about a second and a half off what Riccio3 did in the first sector himself. Lots of time still to make, though. The first sector here in Japan is notably one of the most difficult, and of course, if you're running a slightly lower downforce setup, you'll benefit as we head through Spoon Curve here on towards 130R.
Yeah, Matty D, of course, in his return to the Creator Series. This is his 55th race here tonight in the Creator Series, and we don't see him that often, but it's always good when he does arrive. And I tell you what, torment and turmoil can occur. He's had some success, though, in the past where it's come to F2. But now making his way around out of the middle sector. He's, of course, holding the purple first sector so far, so faster than Riccio3 in Sector 1 with a 32.033, 40.089 in the middle sector, and now bursting up towards the line. Let's see where Cal the Dragon goes. He breathes fire. Not that Japan needs any at the moment. It goes second fastest with a 128.846. Still work to do, but a little closer to the back of Ricky. Currently a few tenths off as it stands, but there are more cars working their way out, and it's Rasin Chai, of course, double certainly sorted at Alpine. They've also got Tom back in the car as well, who is also utilising that fully immersive simulator rig. Once again, he has repaired it after a little wheel mishap from before, and now looking to obviously register his own fast time. I think Alpine will be strong tonight.
Certainly will. I mean, if Tom's managed to fix his shaft issues, then nothing can really stop him, especially if himself and Rasin Chai decide to work together, which is what we're seeing here. And effectively, this is for the betterment of the wildcard. This is what drivers potentially were hoping would happen. And one of them saying, well, we'll give you the toe if you give me the toe later.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. Here comes Rasin now to commence his flying lap. The time to beat, a 128.381 in order to go fastest for now. But bear in mind, if you are inside the top 15, you will progress through to Q2. There is Rasin Chai in the bottom right of your screen with one of the best haircuts you'll see on the Creator Series grid. It's almost Goku-esque, I have to say. And let's see if he can shoot some thunderbolts here live at Suzuka here in the Creator Series. Coming through out of Dunlop Corner now, out of the snake section. I'm reaching a bit with that one, I have to say. As he now makes his way out of the first sector, through towards Sector 2. Now around the Degners. Very fast pace. You can just see his teammate just in front as well. Obviously, Tom looking to register his own fast lap. We've got Zafso and Lolinoba also out on circuit as well. So plenty of times are going to be flooding in thick and fast. Like we said, the purple first sector time was going the way of Matty D. We haven't seen much change so far. Nick Fly is currently registering a 32.141 on his flying lap in the opening sector. Rasin Chai, 33.3. It hasn't been a necessarily easy run so far. Might just be our timing screen just waiting to update itself for the time being as he now ventures out of Spoon Curve, heading down now towards this very, very long straight where they'll then meet 130R, this very, very fast-paced left-hander, a kink in the course that will then send you down towards Casio Triangle to then make your way through towards the start-finish line. Just see there the smoke coming off the rear tyres of what look to be Tom's Alpine as they now fly out of the final apexes. Into the pits comes Rasin Chai. Tom sets his lap though, and is the first to move into the 127s, and it's a very strong 127 as well, a 27.752.
Yeah, fantastic lap from Tom. It looked like just a sighting lap from Rasin there, because obviously going out on the mediums, they will have their tyre allocation reset in the race situation. And if you can look at the track map at the bottom right, look how busy out on track it is at the moment. Just over 6 minutes to go. Everybody wants to avoid that drop zone.
Yeah, Rasin Chai, first lap was on medium tyres, obviously explaining to a degree as to why he came in. His first sector time wasn't bad though, registering a 32.157. Certainly not the best, certainly not the 31 that Tom had set on his flying lap, but nonetheless, decent. F1 Alex also making his way towards the line. He crosses the line and goes 5th fastest in the immediate. We're currently watching Infratic coming around the Casio Triangle chicane as well, currently registering a 32.2 in the first sector, a 39.5 in the middle sector, and coming up towards the line himself, 4th fastest, just behind GB68, who we also just see crossing the line as well. That guy Vince and Lolinoba currently sat 2nd fastest. So the time that Ricky initially set to go fastest, Noiguera steals the top time away and ushers his way into the 27.6s. That will surpass him just within a 10th of Tom at the moment. At the very top of the screen is now we're seeing Formula Kai, who has also been impressive since debuting in the Creator Series as well. He goes 3rd fastest and joins the 27 club, just ahead of Lolinoba as well. All of them in the top 10 so far have registered their laps on the softs. Only the odd lap has been set on mediums, and there is our championship contender, Tiermet Marduk, 15 wins under his belt and looking on his 91st race appearance in the Creator Series to make it 16. If he can, it will obviously really help his championship charge. Looking to obviously become a champion once more, a 3-time champion here in the Creator Series. Can he do it, TK?
Well, I think that's the question. I think if he believes he certainly can do, avoiding any wheel or technical issues, he'll come up towards the line. It's only good enough for 14th place, but don't forget he has got the mediums on. Got a bit of a tow from Formula Karim as well, of course, his championship rival, so that would have aided him in the latter stages of that lap. But alas, I think he will have to go back in for a set of softs if he wants to secure safety.
Well, his rival, Alex Gillen, went 2nd fastest and put in the purple first sector as well of a 31.730, which is really impressive first sector indeed. Rasin Chai is currently out on an out lap, so looking to return this time out with a soft set of tyres. And Adam Sanderson also looking to post his first lap of the session. Of course, Tiermet Marduk's teammate for this round here at Japan. Once more, Tom retiring from the session, seems content with his lap that he's posted. I think if you are in that 127 TK, I'd argue that you are safe.
I'd argue that as well. Top 4 at the moment. Obviously, only the bottom 4 are going to go out of the session at the moment. There is opportunities for mistakes. We saw it with Hayden so early on the intermediates, not necessarily finding the grip that he would have hoped for in that car, but there's still an opportunity. Who knows? We could see 9 other cars go quicker, and then, alas, a 27 is no longer safe. It's unlikely, but not impossible.
No, not impossible at all. Meraki coming up towards the line now in the Red Bull, as he now looks to post his first lap of the session, or first fast lap, that is. It goes 8th fastest with a 128.082. Definitely more time in that lap, you'd certainly fathom, but we all know what Japan is like. Certainly a fantastic circuit for racing, but at the same time also it's extremely technical, and it takes a really strong controlled mindset in order to really fashion out and certainly post a fast run. Adam Sanderson currently sat 14th fastest as it stands, obviously registering a 128.833, which is, like we said, very nearly 8.5 or just over 8.25 tenths of a second slower than Meraki, who now sits inside the top 10. Noiguera, though, with the fastest lap so far. Very well known for his one-lap pace, though, TK. Has been strong over several rounds in the past, almost criminal. And I said this before, one of the dark horses in this championship, too. And he'll have a huge opportunity to do some damage here at Suzuka.
Certainly will. One of those names, one of those faces that you certainly never discount, especially in a qualifying situation, because he is one that can turn around, put performance out. Yes, he may have the occasional issue or the occasional challenge come race day, but over one lap pace, arguably, there's sometimes no one better.
Well, in the 47 appearances he has given, certainly us in the Creator Series, has actually managed to muster 5 poles in that time. So he's no stranger to pole position, and you definitely would not write him off. But what I will say is it will only aid his teammate Fabio, who currently sits in P10. But if you have that combination, TK, obviously it's all provisional at the moment. Of course, we have 2 more sessions to come. But, you know, if Ferrari were to, say, stop the count and have Noiguera in P1 and Infratic in P10, I don't see that as being a negative result.
Certainly not at all. It'd be a fantastic run at the moment. I mean, Nogueira is a very quick driver. Rasin Chai going even quicker in the opening qualifying. But going back to Ferrari, Nogueira is one of those drivers that he will battle through the field. He has the ability, he has the knowledge to go wheel to wheel with drivers. Fabio will like the opportunity to start from the front of the grid. He'll want to command the pace as much as he possibly can. And I think, as you said, yeah, looking back to Maranello, I think the team would be happy should that be the situation come the race.
Yeah, and you've also got to look as well that in those 47 appearances, only twice has he retired. Of course, that when we're talking now, obviously we're alluding to Nogueira, which is absolutely a phenomenal stat on his part, and never once disqualified either. So if you want someone who's relatively reliable, generally he does get caught up in the odd nonsense here and there that kind of disrupts his form. But I have to say, it's never led to the point where he's fully retired from a race. We have had plenty of retirements though here in Q1, obviously for those drivers that feel that they've set a necessary enough fast lap not to go out again. And that guy Vince has joined that club, so is Meraki. Tom obviously was one of the first to retire, and then Alex Gillen's done the same, so is Nogueira. Rasin Chai though posting that unbelievable lap. Again, we alluded to the fact that Alpine could be strong here tonight, and once again they are showing it.
Certainly are. P1 and P4 respectively at the moment. Lots of other drivers though still set representative lap times. I mean, Ben down in P17 still has to put a good lap out on the soft, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see Adam Sanderson going quicker, potentially even Sasso as well if he manages to find some of that Season 1 pace. Nick Flies get to set a lap time on the board, but even drivers maybe like Ricky in Fratic GB that stand 12th through 10th respectively, I think there's still time even in their own pit garages to make up and jump up some of these drivers.
Yeah, definitely that, and including another man we'd expect to improve. It's this man, TM Marduk. We're riding on board with him as he now rounds the Degners and makes his way up through towards the hairpin. Perhaps missed that apex ever so slightly at the second Degner, but has definitely recovered well, making his way down through towards the hairpin bend at turn 11. Now we'll look to feather that throttle and then power his way through the next right-hander at 200R, where there has been known to be a chicane at this part of the circuit, but instead it's just a very flush swoop around the outside, coming through the right-hander. Before then you venture through Spoon through turns 13 and 14. Of course, this circuit at Suzuka notorious for its works in motorbike racing, but also we all know it for Super Formula in Japan and Super Formula Lights, but it's also the home of various Asian GT3 championships, and also has pride of place on the Formula 1 calendar and has done so for so many years as TM Marduk flies through the final few corners, coming through the Casio Triangle chicane and now up towards the line in the Mercedes, and our current championship contender going only 13th fastest. Now that's risky. Zamso is improving and you wouldn't count him out. Of course, remember, PS1 Hagrid and also Season 1 champion as he now flies up towards the line. Only enough for 16th fastest, and he will be out of qualifying along with Adam Sanderson and of course Matty D. What about Nick Flies, who's improved massively in recent times as well? Goes 15th fastest, right on the bubble, but stays alive and relegates F1 Alex, and that looks like that's all she wrote.
Well, this is going to be fascinating. We've confirmed that two of our big championship rivals will be starting 15th and 18th respectively. Timo Marduk down in 18th after Sanderson qualified there. Obviously, Nick Flies just scraping through by the barest of margins will allow him to progress through. So Karim has got the advantage going into the race at the moment.
I mean, are they friends of Mercedes? I'm starting to question this now because Adam Sanderson sticking his car down in 18th place equally as well. Cal the Dragon, obviously Matty D13. We know that Matty and Jake have a very interesting relationship in the Creator Series, and maybe this is Matty's way of getting back at Meraki for something. But let's take you through qualifying one. It's Rasin Chai, fastest for Alpine. We got Nogueira in second, Alex Gillen in third, Tom in fourth, Formula Kai in fifth, Infratic in sixth, Formula Karim seventh, Lolin Ober in eighth, then that guy Vince ninth, Meraki 10th, GB68 in 11th place. Then we have Scott Taylor, Ricky 03, Tim Marduk, Nick Flies, and then the eliminees are F1 Alex, Zamso, Adam Sanderson, Cal the Dragon, and Hayden Gullis, who retired right at the top of Dunlop Curve. So yeah, drama, everybody. Absolutely extraordinary stuff. We'll head across, though, initially over to our man Josh, just to talk through some of the incidents. Josh, what's new?
Yeah, so just this one clip here, right at the end of this qualifying session, we saw Nick Flies just barely scraping through. Of course, it's going to be Karim's grid position, so he's out there trying to help his teammate. So coming down the start-finish straight, he's actually gone out on, I assume, a set of used tyres, not putting any tyre wear onto them that he's going to worry about later on, but pushing his teammate down the straight, bump drafting like you'd see in NASCAR, giving himself that bit of extra straight line speed. And it was quite a small margin, I think, that Nick Flies managed to get through. He was only P15, so that might have actually been the difference between effectively Karim getting into Q2 and not getting in once the wildcard is applied.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much, Josh. That it was quite a bizarre moment actually between the two McLarens. Any thoughts, TK, on obviously the situation at Mercedes with with Tim Marnick now obviously seemingly starting from the back? I mean, this is potentially championship damaging.
See, the thing is, and I'm going to say this again, obviously, we have to try and get an insight into how these team relationships are forming. Are we going to see Tim Marnick and the likes of Meraki try and go for pole position? So are we going to see them try and benefit the team for the greater good, as you like to point out? Or are we going to see them both turn around and go, you know what, I'm starting P18 or P19 respectively, let's just disqualify myself. Let's screw over my teammate as well, take us both to the back of the grid, and let's cause carnage.
Absolutely, but then equally, if say for example Benjamin Daly was to put in a decent time in Q3, for example, should he get there? Obviously we're in Q2 now. If he was to move through to Q3, get pole position, stick Adam Sanderson on pole, surely he must be feeling a little bit guilty then as to sticking Ben all the way down at the very, or should we say, the opposite end of the field.
See, it's a tough one, isn't it? Are you going to look after your teammate? Are you going to play the nice game? I, on the other hand, would like to call myself the merchant of chaos for this afternoon's endeavours. I am fully prepared for drivers to try and disqualify themselves just to cause their teammate just a little bit of mental anguish.
Yeah, well, we love to see it, and also we love to see all smiles. GB with one on his face too, and for good reason. That guy Vince and himself obviously working together, and this is arguably, much like Alpine are probably in their element, this is probably a decent occasion as well if you are an Aston Martin driver as well, because like I say, you've got two very consistent, arguably two of the most consistent drivers in the game when you factor in that guy Vince and GB. Obviously GB has taken the most wins he has ever taken in one single season already this campaign, and looking for more, and you certainly would not write him off it. And by that same token, that guy Vince looking for greater results, looking for more podiums, and has been someone who's achieved much in the past, and you certainly wouldn't question it. Aston have also got a great chance here tonight, TK.
Oh, almost certainly. Look at the last couple of seasons. It's been Vince and GB that have worked miraculously well together to get that team championship not 1 but 2 years in a row. And if there's anyone that this wild card suits, it is absolutely the British Racing Green Aston Martins.
Yeah, winning the championship twice back-to-back is certainly a feat that very few have achieved. But no doubt GB will be looking to chase the driver's crown more than anything else. He knows certainly that he is capable of it. We've alluded to the victories. Unfortunately, though, a championship charge this season looks like it isn't going to go his way. A poor result at one of his favourite circuits has put GB68 quite firmly out of reach of the championship, as we were alluding to in terms of the fight. 41 points behind Tiamat Mardik coming into tonight's affair. Of course, Benjamin Daly, currently championship leader after taking fastest lap and victories at United States and also Britain, but has also taken some key podiums at Monaco and China, not to mention Miami, where he came third in race 1 and then scored some decent points in race 2 as well. GB, though, coming up towards the final few corners on this flying lap. The first sector is fairly decent. 31.917 was actually faster than the man in fifth, Formula Kai, who went purple in the middle sector. GB wasn't as fast as he was, and actually a few tenths off Formula Kai's middle sector run. So we'll see what the final sector delivers now, as now Kai goes across the line and sits at 128, but it's GB who snatches it away. 32 thousandths TK, a fine margin.
Fine margins indeed, and Nogueira's found the gravel at the where's that? Just before the hairpin corner through Degner curve. I know, yeah, just out of Degner. And it is going to be Alex Gillen that goes fast as well. I'm getting tripped up over my words already. I was never expecting to see a Ferrari in the gravel. Grass on fire, absolutely fine. Ferrari in the gravel, didn't imagine it.
Yeah, certainly nothing necessarily scarlet and burning, but certainly something scarlet in the gravel anyway. Nogueira, unfortunately, finding it. Securing driver of the day in the last round of China, of course, Nick Flies, someone who has really flourished in this championship. Quite a long time now since we saw that spin, of course, when he was known as Dragonflies back in the Paul Ricard season finale in season 6, which led to his teammate at the time, Benjamin Daly, going on to win the title against M Sky Z after that massive final lap fight. Nick Flies returning to us, though he has improved immensely, and I would say much to the gratitude, I'm sure, tonight of Formula Karim, who is obviously in this title fight. And this is the difference maker, isn't it, TK? Because we've alluded to the fact that Ben is going to be started down in 18th. Formula Karim has got a really, really grand opportunity here to really get one over his championship rival and contender.
Oh, I mean, at the moment, if Nick Flies makes it into Q3, I think Karim will be standing there wanting to give that man as many hugs as he could possibly conjure up in the next hour or so. There has been other lap times from across the board. Vince puts his Aston Martin across in P3, so both Aston Martins third and fourth respectively. The teamwork is really seeming to benefit drivers.
Yeah, and Tom also second fastest, continuing the great work from the first session. Here comes Nick Flies. He'll look to join them and register his next flying lap. And seventh fastest he will go, 1.4 seconds. Many of them might be using, though, the used tyres from the previous session in Q1. So we'll wait and see as to what occurs elsewhere as well to follow. Obviously, we will be seeing perhaps fresh rubber banded onto the cars coming into the latter stint of this session. We've got 9 minutes to go. And Lolin Ober out on track at the moment and also towing along Scott Taylor, his teammate. We're running on board with Taylor right now, who's currently sat P10, but still yet to register his flying lap. Crossing the line, we've got Formula Karim, who's just parked himself in behind Gillen now. 32 thousandths between the top two, and he has taken a purple final sector as Formula Karim. So quite a mouth-watering top two here in Q2. So now we ride on board with Scott Taylor rounding Spoon Curve, and Teddy Bear in the background as well, looking to offer him that little bit of support as he now races down through towards 130R, and he's getting a lovely tow as well from his teammate just in front as well. We're getting more times coming across the board. Rasin Chai taking that purple third sector and going just outside of a tenth of a second, over a tenth and a quarter outside the spectrum of Alex Gillen. Here comes Scott Taylor, of course, has done brilliantly in F2 in the past and now goes fastest after that lovely tow that his teammate offered him. That's a 1:27.548 and over 2 tenths faster than Alex Gillen as well. What a performance so far.
That is absolutely where you want to see the tow given by the teammates, is as you exit Spoon Curve all the way down that back run through 130R. And it was a beautiful bit of peel off from Lolin Ober. The teamwork ship between the two of them, absolutely phenomenal. And that has been timed to absolute perfection. And Fratic once again finding another Scarlet Ferrari in the grass and gravel.
Yeah, Fabio coming into the pits has had a bit of a tricky time of it here in Q2. We'll look to obviously try and reset and go again. We're running ball with Meraki as well, who's currently out on his outlap. We've also got Ricky 03 on an outlap as well as Noiguera, and Formula Kai also looking to, well, register another lap as well. But at the moment, it's Scott Taylor in charge and in control at the very top of the timing sheets. We have got Noiguera now starting his flying lap. We're hoping that he doesn't venture into the gravel trap, much like his teammate and counterpart Infratic did earlier on. Infratic currently sat in P9, but will know that a 1.3 second gap between himself and Scott Taylor, he knows it won't be enough for safety, TK, by the end of the session.
Certainly won't be. Oh, Noiguera catching the car through the first section of the S's there. Beautiful stuff. Managing to hold the car in a straight line, but surely will require a fresh pair of undergarments before we head into the race this afternoon.
Yeah, he can very easily lose himself. Of course, we saw Jack Doohan by accident leave open the DRS on his car on the run in towards turn one, leading to that massive crash for the Alpine over the course of the weekend. That's exactly what can happen. I mean, it's very turbulent. We've heard about crosswinds as well, heading up the Snake section of the first sector here at Suzuka, and you know, a few teams have been struggling with that in real life, and obviously even, you know, temperatures, wind aside, even in the game, when you're trying to encounter the Snake section that is Suzuka, factoring in, of course, how you take the apexes and at the same time handle the elevation changes. It's got everything, this circuit. A typical and definitely your finest representation of a roller coaster circuit you'll have on the F1 calendar, as Ricky 03 powers out of the hairpin now, flies up the hill, about to run around 130, well, out of 200R, I should say. 130R be coming up after Spoon, but as now he rounds the top of the hill, and then will descend downwards once more. He'll be looking to try and lift himself from P14 and further up the order. We've had improvements across the grid so far. Noiguera now 6th fastest, just over 5.5 tenths away from Scott Taylor. Up at the top of the field, that guy Vince and GB have fallen down as well, but many of them will be moving on to fresher, soft tyres now. Timet Malik Meraki also on flying laps, and they're all looking to post green ones as well. But it's an invalidation for Ricky 03. Disaster right at the bitter end of that lap coming through the Casio Triangle chicane. Here comes Meraki looking to take himself into the top 10. He does, and goes 7th fastest, but Benjamin Daly is faster than him, I believe. No, just a little bit slower than him in the first sector. He's just registered a 32.1, but it's purple in the first sector for Formula Kai, who registers a 31.861. A driver that competes, of course, in the top-end leagues of PSGL, produces his own content for YouTube, and now here in the Creator Series, looking to show what's what, and does by 12 thousandths, and by no means use of a toe. Sets a 127.535. That'll be tough to beat, TK.
Oh, it is indeed. The benchmark has been raised to an almighty height. What can Ben do as he makes his way in towards the Castillo Triangle? We'll be trying not only to secure safety, but also maybe a bit of a measuring contest here in Q2. No, he's diving into the pit lane. He's got a little bit of time to spare. It will be a fresh set of tyres and go again for Tiamat Marduk.
I think he would have been a little disappointed with that first sector. I mean, he'll need to be, really, to compete at the high level in 31 territory. He was registering a 32 in that first sector. GB coming in as well. I'd imagine they'll come in, have a rethink, jump onto a fresher set of tyres, and ensure that they can post the best laps possible at the most optimal of temperatures as well. Nick Fly's back on an outlap, though. Currently sits in 12th. It's now starting to get tense in that bottom 5. 5 places, obviously, will see elimination, and then the top 10 will go through to the shootout in quali in Q3.
Certainly will indeed, and I wonder which 5 drivers are going to be eliminated. Are we going to see any chaos as well? Of course, 3 drivers yet to post a lap time, being Ben, Ricky and Lolly Noba down in P15. Lots of opportunities still to go quicker, lots of opportunities maybe for a couple of drivers to be caught out in the latter stages of this Q2 session. And of course, they've got to try and save tyres for the final run in Q3, because most drivers will want about 2 or 3 runs there.
So much pressure, though, TK, to leave it to the very last minute, especially when you haven't posted a banker yet. I mean, for Ben, Ricky, Lolly Noba, that can't be ideal.
Certainly not. It's one of those that you want a banker just so you can see how you're doing through each corner. You get a slight update as to whether you're going faster, whether you're making time, and all the small improvements. If they can eventually come together, that's when you get the laps that really start to dream of the top steps. And Kai at the moment will have an almighty dream, because he knows unless someone pulls out an almighty lap in the next 2.5 minutes or so, he's probably going to be safe from elimination.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. More cars now venturing out onto the track for their final runs here at Japan in qualifying, and it's the man who is vying for the championship title, Formula Karim, who's out on track. Tiamat Marduk is also making his way out on an outlap. Now, currently, as it stands, Tiamat Marduk, after the last round, coming second, whereas Formula Karim took victory along with Interspol, and also coming to the end of the session, taking near enough maximum points anyway, leaving off on 195. He currently sits 10 points away from Tiamat Marduk at the very top of the shop. It was quite a fiery finale back at China, but we'll be looking to try and continue his rampant rise here at Japan as well. And with Tiamat Marduk starting right down at the very bottom in 18th place, it's going to be a lot of work for the Aussie to try and rein that back in, with Adam Sanderson not making it through to Q2. We've got Alex Gillen as well waiting in the wings. I mean, Gillen is essentially a dark horse of this championship. He's not out of it at this point, TK. It's kind of been the one that we've kind of missed. He's on 166 points. Okay, he's 39 points away from Ben at the moment, but over the next few rounds, of course, we've got Japan now, which we're currently in. We've got 3 more races to bring after this one. We head to Bahrain for a double header, then we've got Jeddah, and then we've got a mystery race at the very end of the season, which includes a sprint and a race. So plenty of points to be won and lost.
Oh, certainly so. Lots of opportunities for our drivers to make time, to lose time, and obviously to maybe form better relationships with their counterpart, of course, standing in amongst their team. Lots of opportunities for our drivers to make friends or make enemies this afternoon as well.
Yep, definitely cause and effect for that, I am sure. Tiamat Marduk coming out of Spoon Curve now, looking for track position, and this is where things can get messy. One mistake, and now we can see that on full show. One of the Hasses actually moving onto the grass as what looked to be an Aston Martin just coasted on by. Every single driver, bar Alex Gillen and Formula Kai, are now out on track. They're going to post their final laps of the Q2 session. Now straight away, Rasin Chai sprinting down through towards turn 1 will be the first of them to go ahead and set his. That Ricky 03 also looking to set his as well, crossing the line as now they fly up, heading through the S's as they now rise up through towards Dunlop Corner for their final flying runs. He's 3.5 tenths off the top. That is how much he needs to close the gap in order to try and get P1. But as it stands, Chai will be going through, as will everybody inside this top 10.
Question for these drivers now, do they push? Do they try and go for the top step at the moment, or do they just hold on, let themselves get through to the third qualifying session? And that's where they'll really start to come into their own, because essentially you're safe at the moment. You can't afford to damage the car, lose the car, or maybe even cause some damage as well. And you might even find yourself out of Q2 if that car ends up in a barrier.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. Rasen Chai now making his way up through towards 200R and now up through towards Spoon Curve as well. We've already had 2 retirements, or should we say 2 checkered flags out on the session. That's going Formula Kai's way and Alex Gillen. They will not be setting another lap here in the session, but Rasen Chai be looking to be the first of many coming up towards the line to register their final runs here in Q2. And I can tell you that the time has improved for Rasen Chai. Personal best in that first sector of a 31.834, and he's gone and put in a personal best in the middle sector of a 39.219, which incidentally is faster than Formula Karim's previous lap. As now Chai makes his way towards the line. Can he blast past Formula Kai? No, but he goes third fastest. We've got Ricky 03 looking to move his way into the top 10. Does so. Goes 7th fastest, and that will certainly please Hayden Gullis, I'm sure. Here comes Lolinoba into 4th. Scott Taylor to the top as the Haas pairing continue to work together, with Formula Karim up to 5th now as Tim Emada goes fastest, which will put a smile, I'm sure, on Adam Sanderson's face. That guy Vince into 7th, GB 5th, Infratic going to 3rd, Noiguera in 4th, Nick Flies now relegated, Meraki last but not least. I think he's done it, I think he's made it. We'll watch now. No, he hasn't. 11th fastest for Jake, who is now not going to see Q3. He was so close, but it's Tim Emmadok, championship leader, who goes fastest here in Q2 with Scott Taylor. Haas working together brilliantly again. Unfortunately for Lolinoba, he could not get through, but we also have Infratic in 3rd place. What a lap from him as well. And Noiguera. Ferrari could be the dark horses today, as well as Alpine, with Tom in 5th. Formula Kai, great qualifying as well. 6th fastest with GB in 7th, Rasen Chai 8th, Formula Karim down in 9th, and that guy Vince in 10th. And we say goodbye to Meraki, Lolinoba, Alex Gillen, which is a major shock as well, but opted not to go for that extra lap, as was Nick Flies and Ricky 03 towards the rear. But we'll now hand across to Josh at Clipbook Corner. What have you got for us, Josh?
There we go. Oh, whoops. Yeah, well, yeah, this is all going wrong. Could not go well. I clicked the wrong button. Yeah, a bit more of an exciting qualifying session. I think very close one in the end as well. I think it was only 3/10 covering the top 10. A couple of spins out there. Nogueira was one of the ones we saw at the start of the session struggling. So coming through the S's, it was looking all right for the first bit as he comes up the hill though through Dunlop curve, runs a little bit wide onto the curb. So already not off to the greatest of starts. And then I believe we caught this one on the stream as he makes his way through the Degners now. Loses the car through Degner 1 and spinning off into the gravel. That cost him his first run. Fortunately, though, he was able to make it through into the next session. I believe the Ferrari's 3rd and 4th. And then we had this as well. Nick Flies on his in-lap, interestingly. I think he may have just got a little bit distracted with his chat as he's coming through here. Just gets onto the curb a little bit too much on the inside. And manages to spin on his in-lap as well. So a couple of drivers struggling a little bit with spins. Unfortunately, Nick Flies didn't make it through to Q3. But yeah, it's definitely starting to get a bit more exciting and very close as well.
Yeah, definitely is. Thank you so much for that, Josh. Really appreciate the insight there. What a start to Q3 we have in prospect with many of the championship contenders, well, 2 of them at the very least. Anyway, Tim Emmadok and Formula Karim. Major shocks though, Tom, as we see the dismay and obviously the dishevelment of Alex Gillen. He's not going to make it through to Q3. He's going to be absolutely gutted, I'm sure.
Not only is he not going to make it through to Q3, he's going to be starting down in P17 alongside Safsto. More importantly, alongside Tia McMurdoch. Are we going to see fireworks into turn 1 from all the way back on 18th on the grid?
And I seem to remember, TK, and I was commentating the race, it was Gillen and Tim Emmadok that crashed into each other at turn 1 at this very track a few seasons ago. We could see lightning strike twice. Once again, folks at home. Where was that, sir?
It's rain on the circuit.
Rain, oh my goodness me, yes we do. Despite it saying on the telemetry, no rain expected. That is absolutely baffling. So the rain is indeed coming down. I did not actually see the drops to begin with, but now you pointed out, you're absolutely right. So it's integral. If we're going to be seeing rain right through the session, at its driest point, the drivers will need to ensure they post their fastest laps now before it gets too heavy. This has just been, I mean, listen, add more pepper to the spicy dish, folks. This is getting scintillating, and it's going to be all the more tricky coming up the S's.
Certainly will be indeed. I think Aston Martin have worked this strategy absolutely perfectly. They're both out first. They'll follow each other through the S's. It's going to be so important to make sure this first lap is fantastic. Vince struggling for grip, though, through the first couple of corners. He had to correct the car on the opening entries and exits, and that could be critical. GB, if he's lined up well, could get an almighty tow through 130R.
Yeah, we'll be keeping our eyes peeled on the sector times as well for you folks at home. It's a 33.7, or was purple, for the Aston Martin of that guy Vince. It's since been stolen by Tom, who will probably flourish in these conditions, because TK, correct me if I'm wrong, but he'll get all the feeling from the underfloor of the car, given the fact he's got that full motion rig. Surely this works to Tom's advantage.
I think in many regards it will work to his advantage, but you've also got to remember that could be rather distracting when you're trying to put the power down. You feel your whole body shift. It could feel somewhat uneasy, as if you're losing a car in real life, and your brain might not be able to correlate what it's exactly meaning.
Well, Tom is currently purple in that first sector with a 33.676 as we now watch as that guy Vince, as DRS is now disabled, confirming that the weather is continuing to bucket on down, and it's a 42.6 in that middle sector for that guy Vince, but the purple middle sector has been stolen by Tom in the Alpine as now they whip around the final corner. Where does that guy Vince go in terms of lap time? It's a 134.838. GB goes second fastest, around nearly half a second away from his own teammate as well. Tom going second fastest. Formula Guy down into fifth as Tim Martic pops into fourth. We got more cars coming through. Racing Chai as well after setting a 42.9 in that middle sector. We're looking to try and usurp at least a few to move himself into the higher echelons, and does lose time, 1.6. And looking how the rain is impacting this session, because Scott Taylor has come around coming into the final sector. There is Nogueira hopping over the curbs. That's an invalidation, and surely Fabio is going to suffer the same fate. He can't keep the car on the track, but makes his way up towards the line anyway, knowing that he can at least place his car in the highest out of the bottom three. Goes 8th fastest. Could that be the end of the session here, TK?
It could and it couldn't be. Now, I'm interested to see what Scott Taylor and Nogueira do here. They've got an opportunity to go in and get intermediates on whilst the track's not too bad. The track here at Japan only has one DRS zone. If you burn a little bit of extra battery, you could probably compensate for the lack of downforce that gives you. And whilst the track's kind of in its greasy state, the intermediates could fire up just enough to maybe challenge Vince's lap time.
Well, I can confirm on the telemetry, it says rain all the time on the screen, which is a bad omen. But also at the same time, it also said we weren't going to get rain this session. And then all of a sudden, we get hit with a deluge. So who knows at this moment as to what's actually going to happen. But from what we can actually see in front of us, there is a high pooling level of water. The millimetres of rain started to rise, and I must say this, the usefulness of those slick tyres are going to come to an end. And now, I'd imagine, if anything, we're going to see the green wall tyre. But I can't see Scott Taylor or Nogueira improving on this, because many of those laps were set while DRS was available, though, TK.
What? And obviously, DRS was available down that back straight. It's a short DRS run in towards the first corner, but then actually, because the rain was here from that first lap onwards, the tyres aren't going to be gripping through the first few corners. They aren't going to be gripping when you try and put the power down out of the critical corners, like the hairpin, like through Spoon. And even as you go through 130R, I'd be surprised if drivers were able to take that flat under the current conditions when they had the slick tyres on. Now that drivers will be able to bolt the intermediates on, we could see close lap times. I don't know if it's going to be close enough to discompensate for the DRS, but I'll be intrigued to see what Nogueira does on his first Inters run.
Absolutely. Well, at the moment, Racing Chai currently sat in 7th. Of course, one of the drivers who has managed to raise the most pole positions throughout his time in the Creator Series, 15 that he has under his name. Only M Sky Z is closest around everyone else on the grid. He's got 14, but obviously not competing this season. Other drivers around as well. We've got to talk about Tom 97, yet another driver that's not competing full-time in this championship. Does reserve on the odd occasion. Maraki in double digits on 10. Of course, did not make it through to Q3. So we could see a bit of a strange look to the top end here. At the moment, it's looking good for Aston Martin. I mean, credit to that guy Vince. This would be his first ever pole position should the weather continue like this, and he's able to take it right through to the checkered flag in just over 5 minutes' time. I mean, what an occasion for the Aston Martin team.
I mean, a mighty occasion. But the question is, does the pole position go to Vince, or would it go to GB? Because historically, go past, it would go to GB. We've had sessions where the grid's completely reversed, and that is how Hayden Gullis has somehow got 2 pole positions to his name.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we got the reverse situation, haven't we? That we got to consider. But just on the face of it, of achieving that in the first place, of sticking the car on top, obviously Dat Guy Vince, I'm sure, will get the credit, or at least a helpful handshake from GB for providing him with that opportunity on the front row of the grid. Either way, we're going to have 2 Aston Martins. Should this be the situation come the end of the qualifying session, where the 2 Aston Martins are going to be on the first and second row of the grid. I mean, that is a sensational result. Tom also on the front row for now, as well as we can just see there, Nogueira just dicing on circuit with cars that are just on slow runs so far. Infratic also on an outlap as well. So both Ferraris looking to set final runs here in this session. I can confirm that intermediates are on obviously Nogueira's car, as you can see, but they're also on Scott Taylor's car, who's also out on a flying lap. And I can just tell you that Nogueira is faster than Scott Taylor at the moment. Scott Taylor's first sector is actually a 37.139. Nogueira has done a 35.120, but a couple of seconds off the fastest times that we have seen on the slicks. So there definitely won't be any improvement to the realm of breaking into that top 8, but at least getting the highest out of the bottom 2 here in this classification. Of course, Nogueira will have every chance of achieving that as he now sprints down through towards the Casio Triangle chicane for the final time you'd fathom of asking himself, as he now ventures through the final corner now, coming out of turn 18, but no, decided to come into the pits. They think it's all over, I think, TK.
They certainly do, and I think there's not majorly any benefit between burning up a set of tyres and trying to elongate this qualifying session. I've been doing some research in the background. A wet lap round here, we're looking about the 138s, and that's with an optimised setup for wet conditions, as Scott Taylor does a 139, so roughly around those sort of times.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott Taylor now racing around turn 1, just stopping out on the grass, just trying to allow all the other traffic to go through on their next runs. Obviously, the one thing that is useful about this is obviously to add preparation should we get mixed conditions heading into Suzuka. Not that we've had an indicator in terms of real life as to how things will go. I think I might just, out of interest, we'll pop over to Josh just to get his summary on this. Josh, what do you make of all of this with the weather and how it's behaving?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting. It's really playing with the drivers, I think, as well. It's going to be interesting as well once we get into the race. We could be seeing some rain then, and I think that's really going to play with the dynamic, the strategy around here as well. It's definitely going to be a tough one to call, and I think that really could play a big factor in the race.
I think so. Obviously, strategies can be a major factor where it comes down to it. Obviously, that's going to be decisive for the drivers to then make their mark in terms of when to box, when not to box, and when to switch tyre compounds, because equally, whilst the rain has appeared suddenly at the start of the session, you never know. We could start with it in the race, then it dies off, and then all of a sudden we're back onto slicks again. You just never know where you lie in a race situation. So qualifying is one thing. When they try and tackle the extension of laps that they will be having to undertake later on, then they're going to have to start sort of making decisions, big decisions as to what direction they go in. As Infratic's direction on his rear end of his Ferrari is going all directions at the moment, coming out of the Spoon corner and flying down the long straight in towards 130R before venturing in towards the Casio Triangle chicane. In the distance, you can see Formula Karim also making his way around on his next run on intermediate tyres, and just like I said, allows the drivers to get acclimatised to tricky situations. I mean, this is a track like Suzuka that, whilst it's been out and about since 1962 as the drivers crossed the line once more, it was only first seen on the Formula One grid back in 1987. Of course, my first experiences of Suzuka was actually my first experience of watching Formula One back in 96 when Damon Hill would go to win the World Drivers' title in a Williams back in that 96 season. And one of my treasured memories, and also Suzuka, one of my own personal favourites. TK, have you got any strong Suzuka memories?
Oh, that's a very good question. Not necessarily in terms of real life F1. Obviously, I think for me, a lot of the times, actually no, I have a fantastic Suzuka memory. Back when it was in September in the calendar, around that sort of time, I was at Silverstone watching the British Touring Car for my birthday, and a Sunday morning in the hotel room, had on the big screen the Japanese Grand Prix, 6 o'clock, and then went down to sit in the Silverstone grandstands to watch the British Touring Car. It was a mega day and a memory that I will not forget.
What a memory that is as well. I used to love my British touring cars back in the day. Obviously, Brands Hatch was one of my favourite tracks of all time. Obviously, Toka 2 touring cars as well. Used to love playing that game back in the day. Also, a fabled Codemasters game in itself as well, much like, of course, the F1 game is as well. So there we go. But all eyes to the top here, TK. Aston Martin are looking really strong, but so do Alpine.
Almost certainly, both of them coming together, working well as teammates, and that's what's been critical in this afternoon's endeavours. I mean, if you look at Timo Marduk, he's going to be dropping 14 positions at the current time of streaming. I mean, Kai's going to be dropping down to 16th as well. There's going to be lots of drivers that have done really well for themselves, but obviously with that wildcard twist, are going to be starting pretty much from the bottom of the grid.
Yep, they certainly will be. As at the moment, obviously, with Alpine and Aston Martin having both their cars in the top 10, that's huge. So do Ferrari as well. I think Ferrari will take solace from this. Obviously, really, Nogueira has been given a solid by his own teammate in Fratic, has he not? Because obviously, Fabio in P8, he's essentially, you'd expect that to be roles reversed, really, between Nogueira and Fabio, but by the looks of it here, Nogueira is going to be getting Fabio's position at the start of the race, and therefore will have a better chance of achieving a front-end position. But there's big points here in hand for the Ferrari team. Karim is going to have a bit of work to do, though, I think, from the Q2 placements, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, they are going to drop down all the way down to P14. Of course, just one position ahead of where Hayden finds himself starting. That's the right way of order the word I meant to say. There's lots of work to do for quite a few drivers. And I mean, with what I'm hearing in my ear for conditions at the start of the race, I think a few drivers could be susceptible to conditions out in Suzuka.
Well, there we go. Hopefully, like we said at the top of the show, no fires. But let's go through the top 10. That guy, Vince, in P1, he will not be on pole position, though, because that will go to his teammate GB. Tom in second, but that will be Rasin Chai joining GB on the front row. GB, whilst he's in third there, that guy, Vince, will take over his seat. Timo Marduk, fourth fastest, but will drop all the way down to 18th, where Adam Sanderson qualified. Formula Kai in fifth. Formula Karim in sixth as well. Rasin Chai, seventh. In Fratic, eighth. Scott Taylor in ninth. And Nogueira in P10. That rounds off your top 10. Of course, remember, they'll be switching with their teammates and their positions heading into the start of the actual Grand Prix. Absolutely fascinating stuff. But what did we learn there, Tom, about, if anything at all, through the course of that one? I'd say, obviously, we know that Aston Martin and Alpine stand out. Ferrari will be fighting. Mercedes, they might have to start playing their cards right. It's going to be a huge mission for Ben to obviously try and come back and win this race, especially from 18th place. And we know around Suzuka, given how technical it truly is, a lot of the battles can be won, though, in the strategy.
Almost certainly. Strategy is going to be absolutely critical for today's race. Suzuka's not one of those tracks that you can consistently have 2x2 into every single corner. You can't send a lunge down the inside because sometimes there's quite often not room to put two of these F1 cars in the same space of track here in Japan. And if we're talking about what we've learned as a result of this wildcard, there's quite a few relationships between drivers that we might have assumed were slightly stronger at the start of the hour, but alas have slightly diminished over the course of 3 qualifying sessions.
Yeah, one thing we can do, though, before we get into racing action, we can take a look at the standings and just give you all an update as to how things looked prior to coming into qualifying earlier on, and just at least paint a picture as to where we currently sit in terms of the championship. I mean, obviously, we know that Timo Marduk currently sits at the top of the tree on 205 points. A slender 10-point gap, though, between himself and also the man who took Inter's pole as well, Formula Karim, on 196. Obviously came in 10 points away. Now he's only 9 points away after taking out Inter's pole. And we will take a look at the standings properly now. There you can see it's all in visual glory. There you can see Alex Gillen in third as well, 30 points behind Karim. Still sat in third place. Mathematically, though, could still become champion. Plenty of rounds to come. And also we've got a double header and a sprint weekend coming up as well. Meraki in fourth, had a bit of a tricky session himself, but came 11th fastest, if I remember correctly, in Q2. But obviously his teammate starting a little bit further down this time around, obviously being Matty D, starting, I believe, from the back row of the grid. So there's going to be a lot of work for Meraki to put in place to achieve something massive here, but he has been known to sleuth his way up the order. GB68, of course, will be swapping with obviously that guy Vince. Obviously Vince putting the car on pole position. GB will take that pole position visit and be looking to take it from lights to flag as well to register yet another win this season. Lolin Ober in 6th, Rasin Chai 7th, Nogueira in 8th will also feature in the top 10 along with his teammate Fabio. That guy Vince, of course, who went on pole, 67 points to his name, level on points with Nogueira coming into tonight's festivities with Riccio 3 in 10th, Formula Kai 11th, then in Fratic on 55 points in 12th. Could get his points today. And I have to tell you, it's a rare occasion for Fabio to get points. He's got 55 of them. I appreciate that, TK. We don't want to big up his ego too much, but tonight could be the night.
I'd love to see it. There's nothing you like more than Fabio getting not only good points, but potentially a podium as well. He starts up in, P10 at the moment. He's got that opportunity to try and pull his way through the grid, but who knows? A lot of endeavours, a lot of chaos could come our way in Japan. It's not a track for the faint-hearted.
No, it certainly is. And Zafso as well, Season 1 champion, down in 13th on 47 points ahead of Nick Flies in 14th in 44-point territory. You've got Tom, who was also looking fast. Obviously, he made a dramatic late return to the championship this season, given the fact that he's had the new rig installed. Adam Sanderson, who put Tim Marduk's car down in 18th place. He'll be starting in the top 10 for this particular race, so we'll have a great chance. And we've noted the improvements that Adam Sanderson's put in place in recent races. He could be one to watch as we make our way around in race trim. Matati down in 17th, the reserve. Hayden Gullis, who crashed out in the first session of qualifying after rounding Dunlop Curve, putting the Williams into the wall on 28 points. Scott Taylor in 19th place. Grid Jokes in 20th as well. So it's still all touch and go, still very tight at the top. I wouldn't discount Alex Gillen, and I certainly wouldn't discount Meraki. I think anyone in the top 5 could technically still win the championship. I know we speak about GB being, pretty much out of it, certainly being the lowest, should we say, listed driver in that top 5, but there's still a long season ahead.
There certainly is, and as you've alluded to as well, we've still got that double header, we've still got a sprint weekend to come our way. Lots of points are still on the metaphorical table, lots of opportunities to try and drag yourself up that standings chart, and I think if you are able to take the opportunities like they're being presented today, if you look at Aston Martin, who've got such an opportunity to pull not one but both of their drivers up the standings, you've got to try and grab that with both fists and yank it as you come through.
Well, one thing we can do is just remind you of the calendar as well, looking ahead to the rest of the season. Obviously, we've been through some of the dates, and obviously we can have a little discussion as to where the rest of the season is going to go. Obviously, we're here at Japan for round 10 on April 5th, but we do have Bahrain coming up on April 12th, Jeddah for round 12 as well on April 19th, and the Mystery Grand Prix to round things off. That is going to be a sprint weekend. We've got the double header on Bahrain as well, so plenty of points still there for the taking. So it's anybody's championship so far, whilst obviously Karim and Tibet Marduk are up there on the, should we say, the majority share of the points this season. You've got a few hungry drivers outside of that are looking to step their way in. So who knows? By the time we meet the Mystery GP, it could be as competitive as the F1 Sim Racing World Championship was this year as we now move into another game cycle. But if you haven't done so already, folks, make sure you check out the socials as well, and also leave a follow if you've been tuning in on Twitch, if you've been tuning in on YouTube as well. Big thank you for joining us. Make sure you hit the subscribe and also the like button if you tuned in on TikTok for the, one of our brand new platforms that we are going live on at the moment. Be sure to leave a follow. We get the reels posted on there as well. Leave likes on them, guys. Get involved. Leave your comments as well. Also, make sure you spam the like button and put us on the, I suppose, on the For You front page as well on TikTok. We'd really appreciate that as well. But TK, looking ahead, prediction time. I want to talk you through predictions. For those of you in the live chats, let us know who you think's going to win this one. We really want to hear from you. TK, where do you think this one's going?
It's a tough one to call. You've got to bank on either the Aston Martin boys. Who knows? We might see a miracle from one of the Ferraris, 8th and 10th on the grid, but if there's anyone that I'd bank on to pull it back from 18th on the grid, I'm going to give it to Ben. I think he's going to be able to try and at least get a podium. Who knows? With the strategies that he's managed to pull off over this and last season, he could have this, well, a little bit more confidently than we thought.
Yeah, I'm going to lasso him back in again. Josh, I'm going to ask you as well, just behind the scenes. I know you can hear me. Who do you think's going to win this one, Josh?
Well, I mean, it's a tough call with such a competitive grid. I'm going to go with Alex Gillen. We've seen him do some amazing drives this season, and I think he's going to be able to fight through the grid, make some good overtakes, and come through to win.
Yeah, he's got every chance. I tell you what, we're going to see a mishmash here. I'm going to keep my eyes peeled on the live chat as well for you guys at home. Brad Bomb's already come in and said, up the Hayden. I mean, Hayden has been assisted in many ways by Ricky. Obviously, we saw what happened to Hayden in the opening session of qualifying. It was not ideal whatsoever for him, binning it at Dunlop Curve at the start of the session. Got very little track time as well, which won't go his way coming through towards race trim. Smidge Bomb coming in saying if Ben wins this championship, it'll be undeserved because he's been racing dirty this whole season, especially on Gillen, who's arguably woke up a demon inside of Ben, making him more aggressive. controversial words from Spidge Bomb, but thank you for tuning in and letting us know. I mean, I've got to say, I mean, whilst obviously we've had a very contentious battle, nothing will be as contentious as what Monza was earlier on in the season, where they crashed together coming in towards Ascari. This is the spicy. This is the content we all love to see, though, Tom.
It certainly is. It's one of those wild cards, especially with the race this afternoon. I am so looking forward to seeing how it goes. There's opportunities for drivers here to pull out a memorable drive. GB could also turn around and do a pole to win, which is a thing that is quite unheard of, especially in the Creator Series with the safety cars and the strategies that we see in as well. But I am also hearing news in my ear that we might have potentially a last-minute change in the grid order that could see Hayden Gullis starting from P20 for failing to set a lap time.
Oh, well, dearie me. He thought Ricky was going to save his bacon. It wasn't to be. Josh, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, it's a bit unfortunate for Hayden, but I guess you've got to be in it to win it. You've got to put a lap on the board if you want to be involved. So ultimately, it's on Hayden. He had that crash, so he starts down at the back, I guess.
Unfortunately, Hayden snooze and you lose, and therefore he's not going to make it through out of Q1 or indeed off the bottom of the grid. Now, we've got to talk about your predictions as well in the live chat, everybody. Infinity Ale Gamer coming out in big support of Lolin Ober, who unfortunately did not make it through to Q3, was actually eliminated in Q2. His teammate, though, obviously Scott Taylor, managed to go through. One of the rare Q3 appearances for Scott Taylor, though, but has really rise to the occasion. I do wonder what he's going to be like in race trim. Excited to see what he can bring to the table. Also, we've got other names. We got Brad Bomb saying, nah, realistically, it's GB's to lose. You could well be right. Deadcool 23 coming in and highlighting his message, saying, imagine Vince gets his first CS win. Every chance of him achieving that. Remember as to what Vince achieved in qualifying. It was him that put GB on pole position in the first place in Q3. The pace is clearly there. It's there for the taking, Tom.
Oh, almost certainly. The Aston Martins have looked incredibly quick, not only in the dry, but also when those changeable conditions came in at the start of Q3. It was a great call to go out as quick as they did, and we saw it pay off in dividends for them as well. Obviously, Tom managing to sneak that other Alpine up to P2, which did just split the Aston Martins, but they're starting one behind another. If they manage to close that gap in towards turn one, Razin Chai could be up for a bit of an uphill battle, trying to make a gap between the two.
Yeah, also some murmurs obviously around GB68, Josh, obviously ahead of this next race. Obviously, he's had some of the best form ever this season. We look back at the second round. He won the first race back at the Italian Job Weekend when we went to Imola and Monza, winning in that first race. And then, of course, we had the fan vote for round 5, where he was also a victor. Has since carried as well loads of podiums under his belt. Almost a crime that he sits 5th in the championship, because we know how good he can be. He could yet be the favourite to take this from lights to flag.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be an interesting dynamic. Obviously, we have a couple of our faster drivers right up there at the front start, or GB and Razin starting on the front row. They could really just walk away with this one. Obviously, safety cars could come into play as well, but they could be in with a really great opportunity. I think it's really going to probably come down to how well they can work together as to whether they can break away and build that gap.
Yeah, I can already see that F1 Glazer on YouTube has come out and said, Ben, I'm guessing that means for real. I'm going to say that. Seems to think that he's going to get it, Tim at Marduk, so we'll soon see. Obviously, it's a big ask to move up from P18 and find your way up to the very top. Keep your comments coming in, folks. We want to hear from you. We will read them out if we can as well. In terms of other unfortunate contenders, Meraki obviously will be starting from the back, giving Matty D on his return to the grid here in the Creator Series, currently sat at the rear of the grid as well, putting Meraki in that position. Of course, Meraki did him, I think, a little bit of a solid, putting him into P11 for the start of the race. How do you think that's going to plan out, Tom? Obviously, given the fact that we've seen Meraki come out of adversity before, haven't we? There's been a few moments this season where chaos has happened. All of a sudden, Meraki's found himself in the top 5.
Almost certainly. He's one of those. He's like sometimes a bit of a pest. You don't always understand how he got there.
Bit of a pest.
He's managed to worm his way through to whatever position he finds himself in. But no, he's one of those drivers that will battle hard. He'll go kind of sneakily off in the background, not necessarily make the big waves. But as soon as something happens in front of him, that's when he will pounce. That's when he makes his moves. And actually, it works really well for him. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him maybe just hold on to the back of the train and work his way through the field. When we see a safety car or maybe a change in the weather conditions as we see the rain, he could find himself in a promising position.
I think possibilities of safety car could be on the cards here with the rain tumbling down as it is at a very wet Suzuka, folks at home. The drama has just been kicked up again. Don't forget, wildcard on show here tonight. No matter where the drivers qualify, they're going to be swapping positions with their teammates. So, you know, it's affected a few of the teams. Obviously, Mercedes, I would say Red Bull as well. But some teams have probably actually worked and flourished in this enterprise. Obviously, we're looking at Aston Martin, we're looking at Alpine, we're looking at Ferrari as well to a degree as well. Lots of people supporting Benjamin Daly all the way. Brad Bomb getting in the chat as well, talking about the rain. I think Karim will win this one. To be honest, he says only Tico knows why I support Karim. Care to shed light on that, TK?
I'd love to, but unfortunately, I actually have no idea.
Goodness me, it's a mystery everywhere.
It is.
Yeah. So aside from Hayden's obviously situation, obviously he doesn't get Ricky's spot because he did not settle up. He'll be starting from the rear. Everyone will be swapping properly with their teammates. So, like I said, keep your interactions coming in chat. Like I said, check out the socials at F1 Creator Series as well. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you know where to go, and be sure to check out as well IMB Raceware and stay up to date with all the goings on in EA Sports F1, because we do finally have a release date for F1 25. It will be coming out later this year. A lot of anticipation around this one as well, Tom. May 30th is the final date of release this month, so we can't wait to see how that unfolds. Obviously, we're in April. Next month is when the big release happens, and then I'd imagine Creator Series will be into a new era on a brand new platform with Lewis Hamilton on the cover.
I certainly can't wait. May 27th, the iconic edition, which has been so well marketed, beautiful cover image, and I must say props to the guys at EA who do their cover up. Both of the editions looking absolutely stellar, and I can't wait. Hopefully, might even be able to pick up a physical version of the game, which would be lovely to have up somewhere.
Yeah, F1 Glazer, I can already see him in the chat, said, could you shout me out? I'm pretty sure we already did, but in the meantime, we're waiting for the Formation Lab to get underway. Big hello, F1 Glazer. Thank you for tuning in. As we now watch them make their way down through towards Turn 1. Formation Lab in full swing in damp conditions, and it's GB who will lead them around. That guy Vince in third place, but it looks like Aston Martin have taken it upon themselves to move themselves into P1 and P2. We haven't started the race yet, guys. Tom has been disqualified already from the Formation Lab. Integral, they run this, TK, for temperature into the tyres. A few cars taking the grass escape to the inside as well. So a few of them having problems with the weather here. I have to tell you, if this is what we're seeing on the Formation Lab, I dread to think when we're at full pace, as soon as the green flags come out and the lights go out as well, it could be a vastly destructive affair.
Well, if I remember correctly, back to last time we ran here at Suzuka, we did see a bit of a car park out of the S's. I think 3 or 4 cars did inevitably end up facing the wrong way, or at least sideways, and Razin Chai was indeed one of those who was caught up in the chaos and the hijinks of those first few corner endeavours. On board with Meraki, though, as we see, again, a bit of a car park as we head towards the hairpin.
Unbelievable, yeah. Just a Haas parked to the inside, coming out of the Degners, and as they make their way through out of turn 9 through towards turn 10 at the hairpin in towards turn 11, as you can now see them all queuing up. The Ferraris jostling over with the Kick Saubers, and obviously this is all about the championship, folks. Obviously Timo Marduk looking to chase for yet another. It would certainly mean a lot, and puts him in a world of his own in terms of number of championships secured in the EA Sports F1 Creator Series. Another car off into the gravel, and what a surprise. It's Hayden Gullis, who is 15th on the grid, but at this moment in time he's in the gravel trap, doesn't want to stay there, hasn't secured a podium in the Creator Series since Season 4 at Imola, and that was 539 days ago. How shocking is that, to say the least? But I'm sure we'll see something a little bit different this time. What's actually impressive, not too long ago, is clattered into the back of a Mercedes. Typical Gullis style here at this moment, TK.
Certainly is. I think Sanderson might have survived that attack on the last Call of Arty. As Hayden, of course, racing on pads this evening. He's ditched his usual wheel and pedal set. Of course, saying bon voyage once again to the United Kingdom, heading off for his new life somewhere in the midst of, I think, France. No, he's in the Netherlands. But it'll be interesting to see where he starts on P15. Controller is difficult to get to grips with, especially if you're doing it for the first time in a while, let alone if you're doing it in the wet. And who was that who put off a miraculous 360? I think that was Gullis.
Yeah, Gullis is certainly an expert at them, and somehow has gotten away with not starting at the back of the grid as well. We'll be starting 15th as we now watch as the lights light up here at Suzuka. All 5 lights are indeed lit. They go out, and it's pedal to the metal, and it's go, 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 go. GB getting a good start, as does Racing Chai, but the Aston Martins getting a better jump. Getting a better jump than any other team, really. Dangai Vince was threatening Racing Chai around the outside, going in towards turn one as they now venture uphill through towards the S's. It is still GB. Racing Chai holding station in second place. It's Alpine in an Aston Martin sandwich with Racing Chai, but equally Dangai Vince in an Alpine sandwich. As off goes F1 Alex onto the grass. Has had a major moment and will rejoin back out onto the track, but at the back of the field, as now he makes his way up through towards the Dunlop corner, coming through over the crest, coming through out of turn 7 as they now make their way into the Degners. It's GB, Racing Chai, Dangai Vince, Tom settling in 4th place with Lolin Ober, who is now fighting up through into the top 5 after Scott Taylor qualified heroically well. Tim Marduk already up into 14th place.
Yeah, Lolly Nova already up 4 positions from where he once started, but both Aston Martins are under pressure. Vince looking very weak compared to the Alpine of Tom just behind him. Tom, of course, in that full motion rig, as you alluded to earlier, could be feeling a slight advantage in the slippery conditions, but look how many people have changed positions. One of the only steadfasters in this entire grid somehow is Cal the Dragon.
Yeah, unbelievable. But he's got Alex Gillen on his tail, so that could very swiftly come to an end as now they stretch down through towards the 130R for the first time here in race trim. Lap 1 of 53 fully underway, a long way to go. Dangai Vince on the tail of Racing Chai as they now fly down into the Casio Triangle chicane. You can just see there Tom right on the rear of the Aston Martin, very close to that rear wing, and we'll very surely see Aramco plastered all over the back of it as now Formula Karim goes side by side with Noiguera on the run out of the Casio Triangle chicane. Work this one out, folks. They now all sprint down one, or should I say 2 by 2. They're 3 wide for the back of the battle over third, and Tom has moved himself up, and off the track goes Lolin over. Dangai Vince trying to hold station, and Tom has gone wide around the outside to try and get the move done, coming up through the snake section, and has done it as well. Incredible move there from Tom, and wheel to wheel between Formula Karim and Lolin Ober on the run uphill once more as well. Karim second in the championship, looking to try and drive himself upwards further up through this field as now he flies over the hill, coming out of Dunlop corner at turn 7. Now the Degners come up. He is now in 6th place still, with Lolin Ober keeping him behind.
Certainly is indeed. A couple of the drivers not necessarily looking the calmest or the smoothest in terms of their setups. I wonder how many of them were prepared for a dry race here at Suzuka, or potentially preparing for a dry race later on. Collision between the Scarlet Ferrari, the Papaya McLaren, and just the white and black Haas that stands in front of them, 2 wide further back, with Infratic and Nick Flies going side by side, and that's never going to end well, especially as we head in towards Spoon Curve. A really fast and flowing double left-hander. Fabio on the inside, later on the brakes, but Nick's going to try swinging around the outside. I don't think he'll have the traction. He does though. Swings it around the outside. Nick Flies still wheel to wheel.
That is absolutely brilliant from Nick Flies, and by Nick Flies by name, Nick Flies by nature. Right around the outside of Spoon Curve, trying to take down Infratic, but now 130R beckons, and they're going to remain wheel to wheel. Fabio getting onto the curb and has lost a little bit of tread out on track. The momentum has kind of failed him to a degree, and now Alex Gillen looking to take him on, coming into the Casio Triangle chicane, will move his car through past Infratic, and now Matty D looking to do the same as they now sprint down the long straight, and Fabio has lost a feast of places, with Hayden Gullis now taking the fastest lap. Opening the door comes Nick Flies again, now looking to encroach on Adam Sanderson. He goes wide and off the track at turn 1 and loses out to Alex Gillen. Matty D goes through to 10th place, and Infratic will now remain behind the McLaren. All the hard work that Nick Flies put in place on that last lap has dissolved in one single corner.
This is some absolutely fantastic racing. Gillen's already up from P17 to P9, and unfortunately the Crate Series and in life itself, there's only 3 things that are absolute certainties: taxes, death, and Gillen somehow being in your rearview mirror.
Yeah, no, that is certainly a certainty that can occur, and Adam Sanderson is now getting a full view of it as well, running aboard here with Hayden Gullis, who took the fastest lap of the race. He's behind his teammate Ricky 03, a very similar situation that we once saw as well back at Monza, and now Hayden Gullis having a look around the outside as they now come out of turn 11 and swooping up through 230 or 200R, coming up the hill before venturing through towards Spoon Curve. You can just see in the distance as well Meraki, former Williams driver, as now we see Hayden go diving up the inside now. Obviously no fear of working together with his teammate. He just wants to get the move done. This is very much a war of attrition between the two Grove representatives, and now they fly downhill, leading through towards 130R here on lap 3 of 53. 50 or so laps to go left here in this Japanese Grand Prix race. Alex Gillen has moved up into 8th, ahead of Alex Gillen, and it looks, or should I say, ahead of Adam Sanderson, and it looks like Matty D is wanting to do the same. He's trying to move his way up from 10th into P9 as Tom takes the fastest lap now with a 1:41, as now Hayden Gullis once again finds himself on the rear diffuser here of Ricky 03 as they blast down the long straight. A lot of movement further up as well. Nick flies all over the back of Adam Sanderson once again. Remember, losing places after getting it wrong at turn 1 this time. It looks like he's managed to get it done, as is Hayden Gullis, who has moved up into 16th. That was a lovely move there from Hayden von der Gullis, who now sits in 16th, chasing after Scott Taylor, and Meraki followed him through into 17th as well.
Certainly did indeed. Beautiful move from both Meraki and Hayden Gullis, and I think Formula Kai as well, following through on the Williams, well, droppee, shall we say, down to P19 at the moment. Lots of opportunities still further forward as you see both Aston Martins and both Alpines in the top 4. Fantastic to see for the teamwork between all 4 of them as things stand. Tom, though, not standing on ceremony. He's going to try around the outside of the hairpin. I don't think he'll quite have the traction on this occasion, but it could be a prior warning to GB next time around.
And he has found a little bit of room up the inside as well, coming up through towards 200R, but opted not to do it. Very much had that Alpine nose cone right alongside that rear tyre of GB's car, as they now plummet through around Spoon. A little bit of contact as they now make their way down through towards 130R once more. Got very close between these two. Tom is, of course, a former champion in the Creator Series and has won many races in this series as well, marking his return in a brand new motion rig that has certainly served him well in recent times. In totality, has taken certainly some phenomenal handed plenty of phenomenal race performances, but now we have got the other Alpine and the other Aston Martin going at it. That guy Vincent Rassinchai around the outside once again. Lolinova coming into this fight as well and looking to profiteer off both of them squabbling, but has been boxed in behind Rassinchai, and that guy Vincent Chai with a nice full view in front of him has now moved himself up into 3rd and has relegated that guy Vince, with Lolinova now remaining in 5th, and Formula Karim has now become a threat inside this top 5, with Noiguera also punching for air as well, looking for some space to at least try and negotiate a place past Karim and moving up into P6. The pace in that Ferrari is still pretty much there, and he hasn't missed a step since qualifying.
He certainly hasn't indeed, managing to recover. Of course, started down in P8, made up 1 position in the course of the opening 4.5 laps so far. A little bit wobbly for the Williams of Hayden Gullis there as we headed through the top of the S's, but managed to find some traction in towards the 1st and 2nd Degnas. I'll be honest, I'll give him praise. He's doing well for what can only be a little practice on a controller.
Yeah, no, he's doing a stellar job, I must say. He's up into 14th place and now looking to chase after Zafso after making a stupendous overtake on Adam Sanderson in the 1st sector. Tom once again threatening GB68 on the run in towards Spoon Curve, and once again trying to find an entry on this Aston, but GB denying him at every turn at the moment, almost frustrating Tom in this opening 5-lap stint. Of course, we are still on intermediate tyre conditions. We are expecting the rain to stop, though, in the next 8 minutes or so, folks. So do sit tight. The weather is changing. It's looking cloudy and overcast out there, but I think we could yet see it dry up. As now a late move down the inside here from Tom, coming in towards the Casio Triangle chicane, and there was a little bit of debris kicked up there coming through the final corners. I don't think it was anything major, but as they now venture through onto the next lap now, onto lap 6, a great chance here for Tom to try and get another move done if he can. Bear in mind, no DRS just yet. Should it dry up, though, it could open up, and we've got team radio from Tom. GB is going slow, and he's trying to put a stop to it by going up the inside at turn 1, and Tom does finally take the lead. It has taken some attempt. He has asked the major questions. This time he's got an answer, and that's P1 for the Dutchman.
Certainly is indeed, and he'll be overjoyed to hear that the rain has stopped. We looked on board as we headed through 130R last time. There was no raindrops on the halo, and you can see it once again here. No rain present in Japan. The track will, of course, take a lap or 2 to dry up. We'll wait for race control to confirm when DRS can come back online, but we're going to see dry running in Japan. We're going to see DRS become a factor in towards turn 1, and let's see who remembers to close that rear flap.
I just want to say, Hayden Gullis is absolutely flying at the moment. He's gone purple in the 1st sector with a 36 and has already managed to try. Well, he tried to launch himself past Safso there, and it looks like Safso's paid the ultimate price. and crashed into the barrier coming in towards turn 11. May have been a bit of an overzealous moment there, but Gullis, despite being in 14th, Meraki has managed to move up into 13th ahead of him, but a major moment between them. I'm not quite sure what occurred. Obviously, we might get to speak to Josh a little bit later on, but that was, I must say, that was an extraordinary moment. I can't quite digest what actually happened there, TK.
From where I'm sitting, it looks like Hayden got a little bit loose out of the corner, and then when he's trying to correct the car, because he's on the pad, he doesn't have the control that he'd like. He's then clipped Safso as he tries to get the car straightened up, and that's what's caused the incident between himself and Danny Haggard. I'm sure Josh will have more for us later on when he's able to review the onboard. Gillen's made up another position though further forward. He's up to P7 after pipping out Nogueira.
Yeah, and Hayden Gullis slowing down as well. What on earth is happening here? He is slowed up altogether and allowing cars to pass. I think maybe, yeah, he's feeling a little bit guilty, I think, after what he did to Saf. So we'll take a look at the incident a little bit later on. But Hayden Gullis feeling guilty. Doesn't happen very often, TK.
It certainly doesn't, but it's fantastic sportsmanship to see as we saw Karim and Lolly Noba drifting through the top of the S's. This is magnificent! How are they holding these cars together? I have absolutely no idea. We've heard of synchronised swimming. That, folks, was synchronised drifting.
Well, stepping that rear end out on that Formula Karim McLaren, flying up through Dunlop Curve, just managing to keep control of the Papaya machine. He's just enjoying himself out there in these damp conditions here at Suzuka is Formula Karim, and this is why he is a budding champion in this series. He's got full control of that McLaren, and now look at the flex past Lolly Noba, who he came toe-to-toe with at Miami, where they went side-by-side together across the line, and that led to a very destructive moment as the checkered flag came out as well. But it's important to note as well, the gaps are starting to formulate here now, TK. 1 second between that guy Vince and Rasin Chai.
Yeah, the gap is slowly forming, but of course they'll be begging for the DRS to become a fact, to be able to be enabled once again. Of course, the track still deemed too wet by race control to allow them to get that rear wing open, especially considering how fast you approach in towards turn 1. But I think we have had one driver box onto new tyres, Adam Sanderson, taking an early gamble on a set of the mediums. No one else yet has decided to go for it. It is still Inter's running though, as Tom sets another fastest lap of the session.
And he's enjoying himself out there, lots of places as well on the move. Cal the Dragon coming into the pits, double stacking at Red Bull at the moment as well for a tyre change. That's a big moment. Tom on the radio saying GB is going slow. We heard that from before earlier on, and as we take a look picture in picture as we see the Red Bull double stack in full swing, that is of course Cal the Dragon, also known as Matty D, coming into box. Meraki also in for his stop as well, and incidentally F1 Alex coming in behind both Red Bulls. Now, is this a ploy to jump on the fresh stop? Yes, it is. Medium tyres now being utilised, so we're starting to see the slick tyres now. TK, won't be long before DRS, I'm sure, will be enabled.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see it even this lap or next lap. I wouldn't be surprised also if it's announced as they head through 130R, even into the Casio Triangle. We see a last-minute attempt to dive into the pits for a few drivers. They'll have their tyre choice already lined up on their MFD. They'll know exactly what tyres they're about to go onto, and as soon as that DRS gets enabled, or as soon as they feel the track is dry, they will be diving into their pit box, hoping that the crew is ready.
Yeah, and also it's important to know Adam Sanderson actually did his pit stop a lap prior to everybody else, so he made a very early jump, obviously knew when it was drying, and has come out in 17th place. He is hoping to pull off the undercut of all undercuts, and I have to tell you, he's only 6/10 away from Meraki. He could get a decent toe off the back of that Red Bull. Obviously at the head of this little group down in the bottom 5, or should I say bottom 6, it's Matty D13 who's taken them along. He's currently 16 or so seconds behind Scott Taylor as it stands. Obviously the weather is still changing right now. We've got a few drivers responding. That guy Vince coming in, Tiamat Marduk coming in as well. Infratic in, so is Formula Kai. So an important moment in this race as our championship leader on his 80, or should I say 91st race, coming in for a set of the soft tyres as we move into yet another stint.
Yeah, of course, I'm surprised we haven't seen many drivers make that mistake in this season. Of course, hard tyres still banned in this series, the Creator Series, or this season of the Creator Series, should I say. And sometimes, especially if you do league racing more frequently over the course of a week or a weekday, then you might be ingrained to still want to go for those hard tyre strats. Of course, a lot of these drivers don't do the elongated races, the greater lengths than 50% at the moment, so that kind of habit isn't built in. But I wouldn't be surprised for the likes of maybe Kai or Karim to see them go into the hard tyres by accident, as they do that league racing almost like a couple of times a week.
Yeah, remember, obviously hard's not allowed here in the Creator Series, so they do have to stick with the soft and medium tyre options, or indeed if it's damp and wet, you can of course use the wet and the intermediate tyres. So there we have it, another twist for the drivers to try and navigate around. And we've got a bit of a break in play here, so I think we'll throw across to Josh's corner. Josh, what have you got for us?
Yeah, well, we can have a quick look at this Safso incident that we had earlier on. Unfortunately, coming into the hairpin, it was just a small bit of contact there between Safso and Hayden. Looks like Hayden was trying to go for a bit of a gap to the outside, just here. But unfortunately, I think he might have just made a tiny bit of contact. Safso's keeping his wheel straight. It looks like a bit of an unfortunate racing incident between them, and unfortunately that was what cost them the positions. Also had this is the overtake that Tom made for the race lead as well. Quite a crucial overtake for him. He's been in the lead all the way since he made this overtake. So coming through 130, he's been right on the back of GB for probably the past few laps, really getting close, having lunges here and there, looked in towards the Casio triangle, couldn't quite get it done there. But now down towards turn 1, he gets the slipstream and gaining on the back of GB. And yeah, I mean, this is ultimately what has put him into the lead. He's just made his pit stop, I believe, now, and coming out onto the track now. So we'll see where he comes out. But it was a very, very late lunge in towards turn 2. A small bit of contact when they got to the apex, but a really great move from Tom. And he has pretty much led ever since now.
Yeah, brilliant stuff indeed. Thank you so much, Josh Richards, for that. So we can now rejoin the action as many of the drivers have come in for a stop. And as you can see, Racing Chai at the very top. Obviously, Alpine tried to avoid the double stack with Tom coming in for a fresh set of medium tyres. So he is your effective net leader at the moment, as he was leader prior to the pit stops unfolded. Tim Etmark overtaking Noiguera as well. Now, bear in mind, Benjamin Daly, the only driver on soft tyres. Now, is that a piece of genius, or is it a mistake, TK, as GB runs very wide in the apex at turn 11?
Well, he's got the opportunity here to go slightly shorter, then go double stints on the mediums to the end of this Grand Prix. And obviously, that could pay dividends to him should we see a safety car, or should we see an early safety car, especially in this transitional period. I think he's banking that one driver may overestimate their abilities, especially in the drying conditions. We see Chai and Gillen both coming into pits, along with Lonnie and Karim. But it doesn't look like anybody's lost the car yet, as most drivers, if not all, are now on slick tyres. I think the only exception is Riccio 3 if he doesn't decide to come in, which he does.
Yeah, Racing Chai now making that box happen. Obviously, they tried to avoid the double stack, as we mentioned before, between the two Alpines. DRS has now officially been enabled, so we are effectively in dry conditions as of now. And there goes Tom, swanning off back into the lead of the race. Now it looks like the two Alpines are going to be nose to tail here in terms of the classification. So it's been a well-rounded effort from Alpine, but a big moment for Racing Chai, who on the fresh medium tyres, the rear end steps out and he loses 2 places on the run up through to the S's as GB moves into second, and Alex Gillen, now in the top 3, sits in 3rd place.
Beautiful move from Chai. He's just trying to hold on whilst these tyres get up to temperature. Gillen will have to wait and be patient. GB taking advantage of that opportunity. The tyres are up to temperature, of course, himself and Tom pitting that 1 lap earlier. They'll have an extra heat cycle in them. Will have a little bit extra grip, especially on a damp circuit. It's still going to be cold on the tarmac here in Japan, and that's where you've really got to try and pay attention to the heat cycles. I say that as he's gone wide at the hairpin. Gillen's capitalised, or has he?
That was the 2nd time running we've seen GB do that at that turn 11 apex. He ran wide on the previous lap as well. You can be excused of that, especially given the fact that the tyres are very, very green at the moment out on circuit, given the fact we've only just moved into drier conditions. It's been slick already. Not a lot of rubber has been laid down here, and it's certainly not necessarily at optimal temperatures. The current track temperature sits at 24 degrees. We would expect it to be a little bit higher than that. The air temperature currently sat at 17, as now we watch as Alex Gillen looks at the inside, does not plumb for the move, but he'll have every chance on the run down towards turn 1.
Certainly will do indeed. It's almost like a cinema that movie that we've watched before, isn't it? Gillen down in towards turn 1. This time choosing the outside line. DRS becomes enabled, and in the end, it's a really smooth and easy overtake for himself. Racing Chai will try and follow through though. Round the outside, he will go swooping past GB, slightly off the circuit. I won't be surprised if that is a track limits warning for the Alpine and for Gillen as well on the exit of turn 2 there. But everybody making their way through nice and calmly. Nothing to write home about from that.
I can confirm that he has got warnings, of course, Racing Chai. He's got 2 against his name as we now watch the battles unfold further down. Riccio 3 coming to blows here with Meraki. Ricky now down in 14th, Meraki moving up into 13th, and Matty D13 has actually moved on and coasted onwards. Remember, not too long ago, it was Matty D pulling along Meraki. There wasn't a huge gap between them, but somehow, some way, Matty D has managed to coast out 2.8 seconds clear of his teammate. So I don't know how he's managed to do that, but obviously must have been a complication through the cars rejoining from their pit stops out onto the circuit. Emphatic part of this group, as is Adam Sanderson as well. He's only 3.5 tenths behind the Ferrari that sits in 15th at the moment, but it does look like that the big undercut they were trying to pull off hasn't worked this time around.
Not as much as they would have liked. Of course, the track still being green, the tyres being green. It was a recipe that didn't necessarily bake the greatest cake on this occasion. They went for the attempts. They maybe thought they had the right type of flour. Unfortunately, they chose, let's just say, baking powder over self-raising, and the cake came out just a little bit flat.
Yeah, we can confirm that it was due to the double stack that Meraki came in. He actually forfeited most of his time actually in the double stack phase. So whilst they were manacled together, they did lose out during that double pit stop. So not ideal at all, as now we watch as Rasin Chai moves ahead of GB68 with Alex Gillen in second. GB now licking his wounds in fourth. Further back as well, we did see some other swaps further on as well with Tim at Marduk. As well, further down in ninth, 6 tenths away from Noiguera, who's 1.8 away from Formula Karim, as they now head uphill through towards turn 7, heading around Dunlop Curve as now they remain together. A little moment there for Formula Karim, who had to correct that steering wheel just a little bit. He's on the tail of that guy Vince as they fly through the first and second Degner before then venturing uphill through towards the hairpin at turn 11 out of turn 10, as now Hayden Gullis starts whipping the tail out in an effort to try and get past Infratic, who is only 1.4 seconds away now from Adam Sanderson. I swear to God, that was a different gap earlier on. Hayden swanning on through prior to Degner 1, through towards Degner 2. He now sits in 16th and a mere 1.3 away from Adam Sanderson. Now, I swear we saw Infratic ahead of Adam not too long ago. I wonder where Fabio must have made a mistake.
Yeah, I'm trying to rack my brain, see where that he may have made a mistake. Got myself caught up in my words once again. But if he's one of those drivers that we think he'll be able to come back from this down push, he'll be able to try and put himself back up. Karim around the outside of that guy Vince. Beautiful move through 130R in towards the Casio triangle. Karim looks on a bit of a charge here. Once he gets his head down, once he's focused, sometimes, in my mind, there is no stopping Karim.
No, not at all. Rasin Chai now fastest here on this lap with a 133.4 flat, and looking really strong as he now looks to get past Alex Gillen. They're going to go side by side, and Rasin Chai moves up to second and now makes it Alpine 1 and 2, as it so briefly was as Rasin left the pit lane. Briefly made it an Alpine 1-2, but unfortunately after the error that he made coming through turn 1 as the track was still green, lost 2 places, but has since fought back, as now we watch Adam Sanderson and Hayden Gullis going at it once more as they now look to rise uphill through the snake section, coming out of turns 3, 4, 5 and 6. Of course, Sanderson, who's proven to be a feisty contender in recent rounds, not necessarily showing that same venom here this time at Japan, as we now watch Noiguera closing up to the back of Tiamat Marduk this time around as they come in towards turn 11. The championship leader in 8th place and 1.4 seconds away from that guy Vince in 7th. Hasn't necessarily gone Vince's way in this stint so far. 7th place, 1.3 seconds off Formula Karim, so somewhat disconnected now off this top 6 battle.
Yeah, certainly. They've got to try and drag their way back into this, because at the moment they are lackluster in their attempt. If they want to try and pull their way through and try and recover anything from this race, of course, we still might see safety cars. We still might see that elusive appearance of Bert Mylander that can drag everything back together again. But at the time being, should we see a race without a safety car, they're in a little bit of no man's land.
Yeah, they certainly are, but wheel-to-wheel action coming through the final sector once again. GB actually losing out to Formula Karim this time, so the two Astons in free fall here on that last lap now, as Lolin Ober sits in 4th place with Formula Karim. The old rivals back again, but GB looking to fight his way back up through the order side by side with Karim and moves back into 5th place for now. Or does he? Because back comes Karim again as Meraki takes the fastest lap of the race so far. Outside line for Karim. Hold station in 5th place by the Papaya McLaren. A brilliant job from Karim to retain the place as GB looks to fight back, coming down into turn 1, and now the Astons are once again manacled over P6 and P7. Like I said, they're in free fall.
They are indeed. They need to try and work together in this situation. At the moment, they seem to be fighting one another. out on the circuit. I think it could be a matter of pride over Aston Martin, who wants to stand on the top step. Of course, Vince might be a little bit upset, of course, about losing that pole position to his teammate, but in all's fair in love and war, and they do have an opportunity to work together. No one has got their teammate this close amongst the grid at the moment. Even Razin, Chai and Tom are separated by one Alex Gillen. GB and Vince just have to try and work together in the next few laps.
Yeah, 3 wins against the name of GB68, and this would have been his 80th race today. He would have liked to obviously have achieved a little bit more than this. Obviously had every chance of scoring something big, especially starting on the front row and indeed in pole position, thanks to his teammate that guy Vince. Is now Riccio 3, makes his way through. F1 Alex retiring, and it looks like that is a safety car. A big error coming through towards 200R, and F1 Alex, you can see the lime green dot that's just disappeared off screen now on the track map. It was actually stationed just off the back of turn 12 after coming out of turn 11, and it's led to now a safety car situation. And I think Benjamin Daly has opted to come into the pits as well, and he's not alone. Nogueira is floating backwards into the pits. That is the most bizarre pit stop I have ever seen in the history of F1 gaming, or indeed league racing, apart from that time at Monaco. We won't talk about that as they now make their way back out onto the circuit. Nogueira in P12. Tim Marduk, who had a very ghastly pit stop experience back at Miami, where his car was sucked into the shadow realm inside the garage. This time, not quite the same experience. Instead, it looked like he was going to continue on the same lap and then get and then just carry on whilst it said pit stop. But no, the pit stop has been taking place. But a very lengthy stop here for Hayden Gullis. Now, I don't think he's looking to serve a penalty, but he has not yet left his grid slot. I think we could have an issue here. No, he's finally been released.
That is a... Oh, there he goes. He jumps to the exit of turn number 1 alongside Scott Taylor, who is just in front of him as well. Apparently, Nogueira did spin in towards the pit lane as well. I'm sure we'll see from Josh in just a few moments' time everything that has just happened. But it looks like Nogueira got his hands on F1 25 slightly early from stuff that you've seen in the reveal trailer.
Well, I must say, I mean, I've seen my fair share of Doctor Who episodes, but I mean, talking about time travel and things like that and appearing and disappearing out of nowhere, that is truly extraordinary. Hayden Gullis using his vortex manipulator to move from the pit lane to turn 2 in the first sector in an instant. Truly phenomenal. But there we have it. More cars coming into the box. Tom, the race leader, is going to remove his 6-lap-old medium tyres. Rasin Chai also making his way around. He's currently sat behind the safety car. So a big pit stop on hand here for Tom. The RB of Alex Gillen still making his way around the track. But I think he's in the box as well. I think it's far. No, just going slowly down the long straight. I'm not sure what's going on here. I get the vibe that we might have a bit of a desync situation, if you ask me, because there's a lot going on that I'm not sure about.
Steve, from what I understand here, Tom, who's just entered the pit lane, or just coming out of the pit lane, I have no idea what's going on anymore, but whoever was leading the race before the safety car came out got caught behind the safety car. Then, as they headed through the S's, they managed to persuade their way past the safety car. That's then released themselves in Gillen and allowed them to try and pull away a little bit to get that pit stop. Obviously, Razin and Charlie got stuck behind the safety car as a result of that. And I actually have no idea where the safety car is. Are they parked to the exit of turn 1 now? So we should be able to recover everything at this moment in time. But of course, I think it was just where Tom snuck his way past the safety car at that first couple of corners. Could have caused a little bit of calamity amongst the grid.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Gillen now, according to the timing screen, does lead the race as it stands. That Tom hasn't lost too much. He is second, and he has stuck on a fresh set of medium tyres, with Rasin down in third as well. Lolinoba in fourth. No one else boxing aside from Nogueira, Tim at Marduk as well. We'll go across to Josh, though, and have a little chat. What's new, Josh?
Yeah, well, we'll start off first and foremost with the origin of the safety car. F1 Alex coming down into the hairpin here. I haven't actually seen what happens, so watching this with you guys as well. I think it is going to be the F1 Alex special, going to go straight into the wall on the outside. There we go, off into the wall. Unfortunately, calls the race quits a bit early. That's the reason we have the safety car right now. We'll quickly have a look as well. I'm on the actual Creator Series stream. That's going to be interesting. This is what was happening in the pit lane. I thought I'd get a clip of this because it was quite interesting. We've got the cars in the pit lane on the start-finish straight. because this is where they decide to change the tyres. Then they're going the wrong way down the pit lane because they realise they're in the wrong place. They needed to get back to their pit boxes, and then they teleport back into the pit exit. Interesting stuff. We're always seeing new bugs here on F1 24 every day. And then one more thing, on this safety car restart, we're probably going to be seeing some drivers with some cold tyres, and that could be an issue with the grip. We saw when we had the pit stops onto these slick tyres just after the rain ended, quite a few drivers struggling. Razin Chai coming into turn 1 here into turn 2 had quite a big slide here and costing him 2 positions. As you can see, very nearly taking GB with him as collateral damage. Fortunately kept going, but losing 2 positions there. And then on this same lap a little bit later on, we had GB as well coming in towards the hairpin. Still, again, cold tyres, struggling out there with the low grip. As he got onto the brakes, the car just didn't want to stop, it didn't want to turn in, and he went very, very deep. Alex Gillen tried to look for the overtake and then gets a big handful of wheel spin. Has to go for a bit of opposite lock and couldn't get the move done there. But it just shows how much the tyre temperature really does affect the cars and how crucial it is to get those tyres up to temperature on the restart.
Absolutely right, Josh. Thank you so much for that. Excuse me, folks, while I recover from the PTSD of that pit stop phase that we just witnessed. I mean, I have to say, bringing back lots of treasured memories. Yeah, wonderful. As we now watch them head through around 200R on the run-up through towards Spoon Curve. Alex Gillen has managed to find the tail end of the safety car, so Bernd Mailander is out on track now with Tom, though he is now down in second. He's on fresh tyres. Could make all the difference here, Tom.
Almost certainly could. They'll have the advantage. They can run that little bit later, but this could throw a little bit of confusion in terms of pit stops later down the road. Of course, you'll have to try and take the tyres longer. Tom hasn't benefited from as long a stint in the mediums that he quite potentially could have done. Obviously, the safety cars come out early. Ben may have benefited quite nicely. Obviously, he went onto the soft tyres when the rain ended, but Tom has now gone medium, basically burned up a set of the mediums. If he wants to go back on them later, should he have a set of softs later towards the race? I apologise if I'm confusing people out there, but he'll basically have a burned set of mediums at the end of the race.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There's Infratic, who is on a fresher set of softs. It's interesting. I must say, I find it compelling how we've seen softs this early in the race. You would have expected, obviously, much like the hards would have been used, I suppose, them try and take out a good lengthy portion, maybe then move on to the mediums, or try and stay out late and then move on to a set of soft tyres. But that's exactly the point of the no hard tyre rule, because they want the drivers to start trying something a little bit different, try and enforce multiple stops. And this is where a driver's keen sense of strategic intervention comes in to sort of dictate as to where they do finish out on track, and that's what makes the Creator Series great. So yeah, it's all down to the drivers to see how they can pull this out. I'm intrigued to see how the slight difference in tyre life between Tom and Alex Gillen and Razin Chai and the rest of the order, I should say, in that top 6, how that's going to affect things for the next few should I say for the next few laps, or at least for the next stint, because, you know, is this going to be a positive influence to Tom's race, or is it going to matter at all? Because, like I said, whilst of course it is still 6 laps, these are medium tyres. They are a decent race tyre, so you do have to wonder whether that minor threshold, if it's going to make any difference at all.
They are a decent race tyre, and we've seen that time and time again. Obviously, he will have to go onto the softs later on in the Grand Prix, but the question now is how long, theoretically, can he take a set of the mediums? Could he take them to lap 35, even 43, around that sort of lag? I think that's probably maybe bordering on the edge of what these medium tyres will do, especially around Japan, where they're so, well, they're grained in hard in the first sector. They're needed so much through 130R. The drivers put so much demand through their tyres through this circuit, and I think Tom might have overestimated just how many laps are left in this Grand Prix.
Well, he did say in practice, I caught a conversation they were having about Suzuka leading through to tonight, and Tom was doing some full-on practice. We do hear that the safety car is in this lap. He was doing some practice runs in full race trim, and he said that he could easily get 20 laps out of the medium tyres. Now, bear in mind, Suzuka is a high-deg circuit in places. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they push through. And obviously with the safety car coming out, that does kind of relieve a little bit of the pressure on maintaining the tyre life. You know, apparently according to Alex, who's just posting in our commentary chat, Alex Gillen only has 9% wear, so I don't think it'd be much of a difference. So alluding to that factor that we were discussing earlier on, as now they pick up the pace heading down the hill, down through towards turn 1 very shortly. It's Alex Gillen who will take them through, and it's pedal to the metal for the second time in this race now. It's Alex Gillen, Tom further back, Rasin Chai, Lolin Ober looking into the inside as well of the second Alpine that currently sits in third place, unable to make the move, but Noiguera has moved up to 10th ahead of Riccio 3, so a decent race start for the Ferrari. Tim Edmardic looking to do the same as now he moves up to 11th, and I think Riccio 3 has been stuck here because he's lost out to Nick Flies as well here in the first sector. Not a great restart for Riccio 3, but it's Alex Gillen who still leads the way with Tom on fresh medium rubber in second place.
Yeah, both Williams were a little bit hampered. Riccio 3, as you were previously alluding to, Hayden Gullis as well further back. I think just finding his feet on the faster running here, and I think there was a little bit of wing damage flying off from someone a minute ago. Can't quite grasp who that was from, but I think there is a car going slowly. Maybe Scott Taylor.
Yeah, it looks like Riccio 3 has had a little bit of a moment as well coming up the inside, though Scott Taylor has indeed gone slightly slowly, has somewhat recovered, has Scott Taylor, heading uphill, but now opens the door here for Matty D13 to come into the fight. Matty, who was a little bit higher up than this earlier on, has opted for a fresh set of mediums himself, but now under immense pressure. Infratic is managing to move past Riccio 3. Ricky has got so many issues, I don't know what's going on there, but he has forfeited a flood of places all the way from the top 10, just on the cusp of the top 10. He has now dropped down to P19. What on earth has happened is now Hayden Gullis goes toe-to-toe with Infratic on the run down through towards the Casio Triangle. Inside line here for Infratic. He'll hold station and hold on to 16th as Tom takes the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:32.460.
Yeah, just confirming, Riccio 3 did indeed have wing damage. He's gone into the pits alongside Scott Taylor. Two cars getting caught up in that opening lap. So one Williams in the box. Scott Taylor deciding he can continue with the damage that he has suffered to the car at the moment. But back up to a race lead here. Tom is right on the rear of Gillen. I wonder how long it is until we see a team radio where we see Tom complaining how slow the lead car is going again.
Well, he said that earlier, didn't he? I must say, Alex Gillen is certainly not slow by any means. Tom flying though after him. Bear in mind, does have better tyres. Tim Edmardic launching his car past Nick Flies. A very different driver flying up his inside this time. Of course, those two were the former teammates in Tim Edmardic's championship winning round at Paul Ricard back in season 6. And look at this battle here. All shapes was Matty D coming in towards turn 11 on the run out of the hairpin, but it's wheel to wheel between Hayden Gullis and Fabio once again now as they stretch around 200R, and the next victim could be Scott Taylor. In comes Hayden Gullis now up the inside in towards Spoon, and will he find the move? Yes, he will. Up into 14th place. Hayden Gullis on the rise. Seems more at home on a pad than he does on a wheel, TK.
He certainly does. He's absolutely flying on controller at the moment. He's got a considerable gap, though, to Adam Sanderson just up the road, 1.8 seconds. And, of course, with DRS being enabled as it is presently, that could hamper a bit of a problem for the now native Nathaniel? No, Dutchman. My apologies. But, yeah, Tom, the other, the other native
I thought you were going to say
Dutchman.
Neanderthal then for a minute. I was going to agree with you, but
That's what I kind of thought about.
unbelievable. Alex Gillen losing out to the race lead from Tom, who now makes his way up into first place. 3.5 tenths between them. Tim Edmardic fighting it out with Maraki over 10th and has managed to relieve him of it as well. Hayden Gullis 15th now ahead of Scott Taylor, conserving that place after finding the avenue coming through Spoon Curve. Scott tried to reply, I think, but lost out, and Gullis now in 15th, chasing after Infratic once more as they meet in that battle for 14th. Here comes Tom's team radio. Now we go, he said. He's got the clean air. This is where he makes use of the tyres now, TK.
Certainly is. That's the alternate radio that I was expecting. It was either going to be Gillen so slow, or it's going to be now we're past, let's just bugger off and run away with this. And obviously the latter came through the team radio. Tom, as he said, has the fresher tyres, has the advantage. He's got to get the move done before they head into the Casio Triangle. Otherwise, Gillen will be reeled back in with that DRS in towards turn 1.
Yeah, important to note as well that Tom has got a grand level of pace. Of course, we allude to him being a great content creator, but also a great racer in the past. Was actually part of the F1 eSports group, part of the talent pool that were available for the 2019 championship all the way back then. Wasn't picked, but still nonetheless a great talent, and could have been so easily taken on board. And you never know, in written history, you could have said that Tom was an F1 esports driver back there, or an F1 sim racing driver back then, as we watch as Formula Kai comes close with Noiguera on the run out of the Casio Triangle chicane. In the background as well, Tiamat Marduk looking to try. He could get 2 places here, could Benjamin Daly, if he gets the run. Indeed, he'll try and challenge Noiguera. Now taking the outside line, coming through towards turn 1, in towards turns 2. He's close to the back of Kai, and the Ferrari meeting him each and every way. Coming up through towards turn 3, but the inside line, Tiger Line favouring the Aussie, who now moves up into 9th place. And now the wonder from down under is going to look to sprint onwards with an attempt on Formula Kai for that 8th spot, but needs to try and make his way through the Degners cleanly and with ease, and will do so on his fresher rubber. He's only 3.5 or so tenths away, and no doubt looking to move his way through this field in an effort to reclaim points in his battle against Karim, who's in 5th spot here in this classification.
Got a lot of work to do though. Race is not even halfway through at this moment in time. Lots still can happen, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see at least one more of these F1 cars meeting their good friend Barrier.
Yes, absolutely right, as they now fly through towards Spoon Curve. Running aboard here with Formula Karim, as they now look to exit out of turn 13 and 14, with a run now heading down through towards 130R once more, venturing into sector 3 proper. Now very shortly, Karim just over 2 tenths away from Rasin Chai. You can see the tyre compounds on the left hand side, the top 11 all on medium compounds, those in P12. Downwards to P16 on the softs as well, as we just see some tyre smoke lifting off the back of Rasin Chai's rear right as they fly downhill and now take the start finish line once again. Tom trying to advance his gap, it's 8 tenths, but he's struggling to break a second, TK.
Certainly is. He can't quite get the gap. The track essentially is so short. Yes, there's only one DRS zone. It's not like Australia, where they seem to come every other turn in terms of DRS zones. But because it's so short, because the track's so fast and so flowing, and you have the drag through down 130R, you just get pulled along by the car in front. You've got to burn an excess amount of battery, but even so, in doing that, you drag the car back through behind as well. You've got to try and get that time through the S's, which is really difficult, because if you're running higher wings, you then compromise yourself in towards the lap again.
Certainly do. As we now watch Karim again, as well, moving down the field now, we got Gullis v Adam Sanderson. Now this is a battle that has been illuminated for quite some time. Gullis has moved up into 13th though on his soft tyres that have now seen 8 laps of action. Now he can't afford to stay down here much longer. Bear in mind he does have to make another stop, because of course these softs aren't going to make it to the end. He'll be hoping that he can at least marshal some sort of an advantage in order to make his stop work for the final stint. Bear in mind, all those above him are going to be going out for longer stints. He can't afford to be off the pace here. Needs to find something in order to make his strategy work now. He's only half a second or so, 6 tenths away from Nick Flies in front, as we now take our look to the front of the field with Tom in first, Alex Gillen still remaining within 9 tenths, within 8 tenths now as they come out of the Casio Triangle chicane. Coming down in towards turn 1, Lolin Ober also following suit as well. Tiamat Marduk trying to find yet more places, has managed to get past an Aston Martin and now sits in 7th, chasing after GB68 and has made the move past GB as well, and has now moved up into 6th on the run in towards turn 1, and now sprinting uphill through towards turns 2. It is now Benjamin Daly in 6th, with Rasin Chai in between him and his championship contender and rival Formula Karim.
He's still got a gap to make up though, 1.5 seconds to the disadvantage of Tiamat Marduk. He's trying to grab that back, but behind him is the almighty Giro partnership that is the Aston Martin team. And of course, don't count out Meraki, who's climbed up from P19 on the grid, where he finds himself at the moment. Matty D in towards the box as well, alongside Ricky 03. They're now close together after Ricky's earlier adventures, and that's be a fresh set of tyres for Cal the Dragon. Softs going on to see him through the next stint of this race.
Yep, Cal the Dragon now 5.4 away from Ricky 03. Not sure whether that timely visit onto the softs was the right decision, because he only did 7 laps on those mediums. So he's going to have to box again. Whether he's going to go for a double soft stint, we'll have to wait and see. Probably would have been more prudent to do a short run onto a soft set of tyres, unless he had damage. I suppose that's the one thing we've got to consider, as now they stretch down through towards the left-hander. Absolutely right, and confirmation from Josh in our commentary chat that indeed it was a damage stop. To change front wings, no less, as they now fly down through towards the Casio Triangle. And again, another look this time from Formula Kai, who is trying to break past. That guy Vincent has done so, managed to break into P8. Lovely move there from Kai, who was all shapes coming into the Casio Triangle chicane, made a late move up the inside, and Meraki now looking to also make places, might get two for himself as well as he looks to go nose to tail with Formula Kai. Decided against it coming out of turn 2 now as they fly up through towards turn 3, and that guy Vince, who was on the second row of the grid at the very start of this race, put it on pole for GB, now sits on the cusp of the outside of the top 10. He's in the top 10 for now, but Gullis is all over his rear on his soft tyres.
He certainly is. He's making waves at the moment, albeit that guy Vince seems to be losing the car ever so slightly over the curbs. Hayden Gullis now alongside and ahead as they head into the first of the 2 dead curbs. Beautiful move from Hayden Gullis in towards the top 10. Is there anything that is going to be able to stop him this afternoon?
He's been so quick on this stint, I have to say. It'll be interesting to see how long these softs can stay alive for him, and it could be a difference maker. Bear in mind he will have to box and move on to another set of tyres, because like you said, those softs are not going to last the distance as they now head around the Spoon corner with Alex Gillard still within 8 tenths. In fact, he's very closely within 7 tenths and is indeed now within 7 tenths. They come in towards 130R, towing along Lolinoba and Formula Karim as well. Rasin Chai still 3 or so tenths behind. Tim Malik has not managed to break that 1.4 second gap, but more importantly, he's broken the DRS on GB, who is 1.2 seconds behind him. Aston Martin's race just seems to be disintegrating at this moment, TK.
Yeah, it's falling through their fingers, and I don't think there's anything they can do at the moment to try and recover this drive. I think they might have been hoping for more wet weather conditions. They were running really well when the rain was falling, especially in Q3. Look back to when that sort of happened. Of course, as soon as dry running's hit, they haven't seemed to have the same pace. That looked like front wing coming from Formula Kai, though.
It did. It looked like front wing indeed, and I have to say that's going to prove to be a bit of a... Yeah, you can see it missing on the front left-hand side as well. We saw it just flying off onto the edge of screen, and clear visible damage to the front end of Formula Kai, and that is a miserable situation to be in, especially in the first sector as well here, TK, because you need that front wing in order to get the able rotation to find your way through the first sector, because it's oh so technical. And a look in the rear as Hayden Gullis taps the back of Meraki's Red Bull as they now sprint through towards turn 11. Is Hayden going to go for the move? He goes late on the brakes. That is very committed. Just could not quite carry the momentum around the outside, and Meraki was able to hold position. That guy Vince on the team radio, he has no tyres left. He is falling off now. He's outside the top 10. What was a blissful display by Aston Martin in qualifying has now been rendered into nothing.
Well, I think he needs to have some conversation with his race engineers. I can count there are 4 tyres on that car still. Maybe Vince having some disillusions halfway through this race.
Maybe can't see them. I'm not quite sure. Here comes Hayden Gullis again. No love lost between himself and Meraki as they now once again go wheel to wheel on the run down in towards the Casio Triangle chicane. Later on the brakes here from Gullis. That is a beautiful overtake there from Hayden van der Gullis, who has since moved to the Netherlands and now setting up routes inside mainland Europe. Seems to have found some, certainly some traction on the pad, and now opting to go wheel to wheel once more as now Formula Kai dodges past GB as well. Despite the missing end plate on his car, it has not sacrificed that much performance, but Hayden Gullis putting on a clinic, losing that position though to Meraki on the run down the straight, but that was some overtake by Gullis.
At the moment, Gullis is going to be my contender for driver of the day this afternoon. He's had a fantastic race. He's stuck with it all the time. And if you talked to me before this race started and went, oh, Hayden's going to race on a pad and he's going to get driver of the day, I wouldn't have believed you.
Well, I mean, what a display, it has to be said, and he's done well on the pad, not just in wet weather, but also here in dry conditions. And not only that, registering fast, he currently has the fastest lap, TK, of a 1:30.423. It's extraordinary.
This is an incredible drive from a man. He's a man possessed after today. It might be his girlfriend's birthday, but at the moment, all the celebrations are going the way of him.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Emma's got the pom-poms out and she's cheering him on at this moment in time. He's inside the top 10 and now on the tail of Meraki once more. Now, will we see the same heroics from the previous lap heading into the Casio Triangle chicane? Will we see a carbon copy, only this time solidifying and marking his place in the P9 as opposed to having it taken away from him by Meraki on the run down the long straight? He tries to find the avenue, another switchback, could not quite pull it off. But if he gets a nice run, coming down the hill to begin the next lap. He might be able to make an avenue and take that overtake this time around, much like Meraki did in return to him over the course of the last lap. Back comes GB, and he's being coasted through as well. Here comes Meraki coming up the inside as now they're battling up the hill, coming through the slalom of the S's up at the front. Meraki and Formula Kai squabbling now as they come through the next segment, and Hayden Gullis forcing his way into PA. Where on earth did that start? Where on earth did it come from? A wonderful move there from Hayden, who now blasts ahead of Formula Kai. Meraki Sydney in the plethora of the fight here, met with Dark Guy Vince, Nick Flies, and the two Ferraris also coming into this as well.
This is fantastic racing all throughout the grid at the moment. Hayden got a little bit wobbly in the second sector, but at the moment he managed to make his way through. I think the soft tyres might be starting to give up on him. Meraki, though, not taking any prisoners as he sends a move down the inside of Formula Kai, and I think that's a man wanting to try and recover what could have almost been lost through the S's. There was a moment there where I was very convinced the Red Bull could have ended up in the barrier.
Yeah, I mean, it was touch and go coming through that first sector. I have to say we had a few three-wide moments. I mean, they were 2x2 at least at some point, but flying now out of Spoon Curve and down the hill through towards 130R this time around. It is still Alex Gillen at the head of the order, but Gillen, despite leading the way, nearly broken a whole 9/10, maybe even a whole second on Lolinoba. Tom now down into third. Bear in mind, he was leading for a good portion. That is not a pit stop, everybody. Tom is now down into third and looking to fight his way back up into second. Lolinoba losing that P2 spot, and now Tom on the hunt of Alex Gillen. Of course, we saw before Tom trying to break the DRS, but he failed to do that, and not only that, Gillen came back at him and took the race lead away from him. We've got 23 laps or so to go here as we now venture around on lap 30 here at Suzuka, and it's between RB and Alpine with a Haas just behind as well, and Formula Karim. Do not discount him at this moment in time, but one thing we can say, Tom is on the youngest set of tyres of all, of anybody inside this top 6, in fact inside this entire top 10, so we'll have every chance of taking this lead back again for himself in an effort to bring home victory once more for the Alpine as Timo Mardik moves up into 5th.
Certainly does, managing to pull his way through the field. I heard rumours in the paddock about a slight discrepancy with one of the drivers. I won't bring it any further attention at the moment, especially with the likes of maybe an esports driver sat in one of these random cars. But as we progress through this Grand Prix, 30 of 53 to go. There's still a lot of laps in this, still potential for more safety cars, and still potential for some of the drivers further down the field to make their way up.
Yep, there certainly is that. Timo Mardik now on the cusp of breaking into that top 4. Now we've got the big battle between our two front runners in the championship. Timo Mardik and Formula Karim in a battle over 4th place. They've got Rastin Chai behind them. It's this top 6 all chasing victory here in the Japanese Grand Prix. DRS open for Timo Mardik, and he's on the tail of Formula Karim. The two title rivals now side by side on the run in towards turn 1. Late on the brakes here from Benjamin Daly, who goes hunting for that P4, but Karim denying him, at least trying to. But Benjamin Daly with the outside run. Timo Mardik now up into 4th with his title rival Karim now settling down in 5th place. Ben has arrived and he's on the rise.
Certainly is indeed making his way through the field. This is beautiful racing from himself. He's chosen the right time to strike. The tyres are in an optimum condition as he sees the battling further forward. Lolinoba could be the ultimate blocker here though, but Tom and Gillen going at it as they continue through the Grand Prix, and I think Timo Mardik can be convinced that this is his opportunity to strike.
And I do wonder whether that safety car that we had earlier on was actually a really good, timely one for Benjamin Daly, because he was on the soft tyres prior to that, was able to utilise the safety car to box onto the medium tyres, and therefore now enter himself into this big fight for the race lead. And he's only got a lap lesser fresh tyres than Tom has. He's got 15 laps on his, Tom has got 14, so it's fairly equal between them, but regardless, both of them have fresher tyres than both Alex Gillen, Lolinoba and Formula Karim and Rastin Chai. So out of the 6 of them, they have got the youngest set of tyres as now he looks around the outside of Lolinoba on the run in towards the Casio Triangle chicane. They'll meet wheel to wheel, coming through towards the right and left, and back in reply. Timo Mardik around the outside, but Lolinoba looking to take him all the way. The Italian, the passionate sim racing Italian, looking to try and fend off the Aussie. He's unable to, and still with DRS is Benjamin Daly, as now Karim looks to take them both. Through almost 3 wide coming through turn 1 and out of turn 2. Benjamin Daly up to 3rd as Lolinoba now sinks into 4th.
This is amazing racing, everybody giving enough space, especially in towards the first corner. Lolly Nobre and Karim, both of them backing out, not wanting to cause that accident because, alas, both one little tap in towards the first corner, and we've seen catastrophic consequences, not only in sim racing but real life as well. And this is beautiful stuff that we're seeing from 3rd through 5th. Razin Chai as well might try and sneak peek through the corners, and I think this quartet want to try and catch up to our front two.
Well, the race is starting to tee up now and it's starting to buzz. Tom may have the race lead. Alex Gillen, though, is still on his tail. And old Gillen rival TMM Marduk is also in this with Lolly Nobre, despite being overtaken, as was Formula Karim by the Aussie. They are still in this fight along with Razin Chai. Such a mouth-watering top 6 battle with some of the very best of them here in the Creator Series competing. Many of them already champions. Tom is a champion. Alex Gillen, a former champion, as he now looks to move alongside the Alpine of Tom and take the race lead back on the run down through towards the chicane. TMM Marduk, of course, twice a champion. Lolly Nobre, a budding champion of the future, you'd think, as is Formula Karim. He is in a title fight this season, and Razin Chai has one in his locker as well as they now fly downhill. Alex Gillen once again leads the way. Back comes TMM Marduk now, looking to go side by side with Tom on the run down through towards turn 1. Tom getting the slipstream there on Alex Gillen on the running towards the first corner, but coming out of turn 2, Gillen with the right defensive line to retain the place, and at the same time Tom was able to fend off Benjamin Daly. The trio will remain as they were. The status quo retains here on lap 33 as they now send it uphill through the S's.
This is fantastic racing. This is exactly what we want to see. The top 6 engulfed amongst one another. And I have no idea which way this race is going to go. Folks at home, if you have any better predictions than I could possibly have in this commentary box, let us know in the live chat. Who are you wanting to win this race? Who are you wanting to try and become victorious? My bet here, George, I think could be on Hayden von der Gullis.
Oh, that's a real wild card selection. I must say, it's a bold strategy that Gullis has pulled off, but it seems to be paying off for him. He's 4.7 away from Razin Chai, and currently 2.3 clear of GB as it stands too. Razin Chai now up to 5th, as Karim now gets sunk down to 6th place now, as they come through out of Spoon Curve. There is Gullis at this moment in time. He's going to be trying to nestle in some fast laps now to close the gap on Formula Karim in that battle for the top 6, as now he makes his way down through towards the 130R before beckoning down in towards the Casio Triangle chicane. It's Alex Gillen, though, who has got Tom for company. TMM Marduk also joining him as well, as the top 6 will now flurry out to the final corner out of turn 18 to sprint down to the first corner on this next lap, lap 34. Benjamin Daly moving through into 2nd. We got Razin Chai up past Formula Karim as well, as wheel to wheel they go once more, and TMM Marduk takes the race lead now away from Tom, who has led a good portion of this race. Along with that with Alex Gillen, it's TMM Marduk now who leads the way here on lap 34.
This is amazing racing. Bear in mind, we're going to have 20 laps if it all stays the same. We've got 5 drivers all together. I think we're going to have 6 in the next few laps' time, as Formula Kai sets the fastest lap of the race so far. And I think it's going to be an interesting recovery drive for the drivers further back. GB is going to be questioning where Hayden's found all this pace, but for Hayden Lee at the moment, he is catching hand over fist to the drivers in front.
Yeah, it's been a great race so far from Hayden Lee. Currently sits in 6th place and 4.2 away from Razin Chai, still holding, or he was holding the fastest lap of the race. TMM Marduk now, though, with the race lead advantage, though it's not over yet. Still, a lengthy portion remains here in this race. Tom in 2nd, Alex Gillen also 3rd. The gaps are equal between TMM Marduk, Tom and Gillen as it stands, and not too far out from Karim either, with Razin Chai also half a second in behind him too. Now Gullis 3.7 away. The last lap he made a gain, didn't he, folks? It was the prior time around about 4.5 seconds when he's brought it down to 4 and very nearly at 3.7 territory. He is trying to close to the back of Razin Chai in what could be a huge day at Suzuka, in a huge point scoring effort here for Hayden Gullis, who now comes into the pits to remove those very well worn soft tyres.
Yeah, it's a smart move now. We're approaching about 18, 17 laps of racing left. Perfect territory for a set of mediums, and on they go to that Williams car. He'll have the pace advantage now. He knows everyone in front of him is going to have to pit. The undercut could work well here for Gullis.
It could well do, especially if he's lapping as fast as he was before. And I can tell you this, the mediums in some cases can be faster than the softs around this track, as we now watch as Meraki and Dat Guy Vince blast past Meraki now into P10. With Dat Guy Vince in P11, Gullis will now join in behind, but will have fresher tyres by around 5 laps on Dat Guy Vince, and faster, or certainly fresher than Meraki by 3 laps. As now he watches TMM Marduk comes out of the hairpin at turn 11 and will now rush out of the hairpin through towards 200i. He's got Tom still for company. Alex Gillen now down in third with Formula Karim in fourth. Still a very, very tight-knit gap between them all as they all look to dice over the race lead. Cal the Dragon, of course, Matty D13 registering the fastest lap with a 1:29.922 as now Hayden Gullis makes his way up through towards the hairpin. A launch up the inside now as he moves past that guy Vince, and now up into 11th as he looks to chase after Meraki, and now only 9.5 tenths away. That was a majestic move.
That was absolutely fantastic. Just going back to the drivers at the front of the grid at the moment, looking at tyre strategies. Tom has used both set of his medium tyres. He's going to be forced onto the softs when he pits. Karim has only used one set of the mediums. He has another to use, as does Gillen, as does Chai. Timo Marduk can go for another set of mediums as well, of course. He went to softs after that wet weather condition. So everybody here, apart from Tom, has the tyre advantage. Tom will have to go longer on this stint to be able to take the softs till the end.
Yeah, Karim now sat right behind. Chai is in, now exit out of the pit lane. Tom's still got to come in, but bear in mind Alpine trying to avoid that double stack. Safso now moving on up. You can just see him on the right hand side of the screen. Will he jump past them on the exit of the pit lane? I think he will. Yes, Safso up into 8th. Meraki also above them as well. Hayden Gullis in the mix. I'll show you, say Safso wasn't in turn ahead. We have got a yellow flag in sector 1, and it looks like Formula Karim, one of the championship contenders. He's got wing damage as well. Shock horror here at Suzuka. Must have had a moment coming through turn 1. Truly bewildering scenes as TMM Marduk's title rival, second in the championship, coming into today. He also took Inter's pole coming into this race and now has dropped down to 16th. That could be huge in the context of this title fight.
See, even if he didn't get damage through the S's, he's put the hard tyres on. He'd have to pit again. It's a mistake in a double of occasions. There we go, white-walled hards.
It is, yep, there we have it. So he's made a mistake. Bear in mind, no hard tyres allowed in the Creator Series. It's a rule that was brought in ahead of this new season. So therefore, that he's got to box. He is going to sink right to the back of the field here. Formula Karim has certainly upset the balance of this race for himself. TMM Marduk with a grand opportunity to get a huge points advantage here at the end of this race. We're going to fly across now to Josh. Josh, tell us all about it. What's going on?
Yeah, well, it's just an unfortunate mistake for Karim. Obviously, he pitted onto the hards, and then coming out of turn 2 here, just losing the rear end of the car. It's a really unfortunate mistake. He had to make that pit stop, I think, quite quickly. He saw the pace that Hayden Lee had with that undercut, I think. Just having to cover that one off, and ultimately just made the mistake. And yeah, that's really cost him in the race.
Yeah, it has cost him massively. He's going to have to come in and box now and get those hard tyres removed, and at the same time take a change of wing, but also now he's in free fall here, TK. Cal the Dragon, the only driver behind him now as he loses a place to Scott Taylor. He's in the pits now, new wing on the car, fresh set of medium tyres. That's going to be within the remit of the Creator Series, but just look at what it's cost him. He is now down at the back, 18th place, and he will most certainly need a safety car.
Well, 18th place, and he's got a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He's going to certainly need a safety car and be able to serve that penalty as well. I think, unless we see a miracle here for Karim, I don't think he's got a chance to try and make some inroads on TMM Marduk.
A very significant moment in this championship as now Tom and Alex Gillen go fighting, heading down in towards the final hairpin. Of course, further back then, TMM Marduk a second outside the window as they fly downhill through towards turn 1 once more. Now entering lap 38 of 53. Back comes Gillen. He'll look to try and retake the race lead away from Tom so far. TMM Marduk watching it all unfold in the background. 1.3 seconds away. Doesn't want to get too disconnected from these front two up the very top end of this race so far, but as they fly uphill, venturing through turns 3, 4 and 5, it's now become essentially almost a 3-horse race, though bear in mind these front 3 have got to box.
They certainly do indeed, especially as Hayden's just set the fastest lap as well. It's clear that new tyres are working well to his advantage. He's in P6. The gap at the moment is considerable. There's a yellow flag further back, and that looks like into turn 1. I can't quite tell who it is. I think it might have been Safso through the first corner.
Yeah, it certainly is. Safso, I think, getting it all wrong. 14th at the moment. 1.5 away from GB as it stands, and it's not been a great day at the office for PS1 Hagrid, who at the moment has 30 laps rendered on those medium tyres. He's going to be feeling the pinch, but someone who is not feeling the pinch is Hayden Gullis. He has taken the fastest lap of the race so far on his 3-lap-old medium tyres, a 1:29.446, sending a clear message right now, and especially when you factor in the lap times, he is 1.4 to 1.5 seconds a lap faster than Alex Gillen up at the very top here at the moment, TK. This could be a monster undercut.
This could be absolutely insane. He's driven so well on the outlap. He's managed to get the tyres up to temperature, balance them really nicely. And if I'm sat in Gillen's cockpit at the moment, I'm worried about what is coming for me when Hayden eventually does catch up. And of course, I think Gillen will be into the pits maybe in the next couple of laps. Tom, though, on the other hand, has to go softs. He's got to wait out for another couple of runs.
Yeah, which is going to certainly cost him in the long run, because bear in mind, Tom's lap times, whilst of course they are a little bit faster than Alex Gillen's, it's still at the moment Hayden Gullis registering a second a lap faster at the moment than anyone in that top end at the moment. So is now he right on board with Hayden Gullis, losing out to Meraki here this time around. Meraki moving up into 6th place. Will of course benefit from the slipstream that Hayden Gullis was providing as well. So these two working together in a certain way as they look to try and move their way up the order. Meraki now into 6th, Hayden Gullis down in 7th. Rasin Chai in the top 5, but 3.4 and disconnected off the back of Lolinova. And Meraki has got to try and break within that 1 second gap on Rasin Chai in order to get that DRS working for him in order to bring himself into the lead fight. And I must credit Meraki with this. Started from the back as Hayden Gullis now gets a lovely run, heading up through towards turn 11, looking to the outside now, and will indeed move up back into 6th place. Both working together to try and close up to Rasin Chai, bring themselves into the lead fight. We're going to have a monumental, what I believe to be a 7-car scrap for the race lead heading towards the very tail end of this race. It's going to be extraordinary.
I think we certainly are. The question is, can Gullis catch up to Rasin Chai by about 0.2 of a second before we hit that DRS detection zone of the exit of 130R? This is going to be interesting. This is going to be a close call whether Hayden can manage to try and catch DRS. Gillen and Thomas switch positions once again down in towards turn number 1. The battle for the lead is still spicy, but the drivers who have boxed already could be with the advantage.
Yeah, they certainly could be. Noiguera currently registering the purple middle sector on this new lap, so running extremely fast on his fresh soft tyres at the moment, as now we watch Hayden Gullis make his way down through towards turn 1. Just in behind, we got Meraki as well, who's forfeited that P6 with Formula Kai, now moving up into 8th ahead of that guy Vince now with GB, now moving ahead of Adam Sanderson into 11th spot, but it's still Gillen and Tom holding all the cards at the very top of the shop. We've got around 13 laps still to go. We're getting into that soft tyre territory, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Alex Gillen and Tom coming in the next few laps or so.
Yeah, certainly will be, and of course tyres will be different for both drivers. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Gillen go on softs until the end. A few drivers have taken them to the extremes. 19 laps was done by Hayden just a few moments ago, so they can now reach race end to the advantage.
Yeah, Hayden Gullis in that last lap was a 1:30.299, so not as quick as the 1:29.4 that he was previously registering, but still we're talking faster than Alex Gillen by 1.4 seconds again, 1.3 seconds. So it's still a decent display so far from Gullis as now they make their way down through towards the final corner before beginning their next lap, lap 41 and 53. We have got stops. Tim Marduk coming in and no doubt is going to move on to the soft tyres, I'd imagine. What's he picking? No, fresh set of mediums. That surprises me, to be fair, but he did use his soft tyres very early on in the race. So obviously he plumb in for a new set of mediums and will go full push on this now, right to the very end as now Hayden Gullis blasts down the straight and will move ahead of Benjamin Daly after pulling off the undercut, has been registering fast lap after fast lap, holds the fastest lap of the race. As Hayden Lee says, this controller stuff is pretty easy, and it looks like Tim Marduk has found himself stuck behind the Ferraris.
Certainly has. He's not come out in the best of situations. I mean, there's already flares sometimes between Timo Marduk and Infratic, and this could add fuel to the fire. Of course, Vince and Formula Kai just ahead of him, but Hayden Gullis now 4/10 off the back of Rasin Chai, with drivers in front still to box as well. This is looking like a race win on the cards for Hayden Gullis, and it would be his first ever race win in the Crate Series as well.
It'll be huge as well, and this one might actually count as they now make their way up through towards the hairpin bend as well. Formula Kai flying through towards the next left with Dakai Vince for company and Fratic part of this, as well as Tim Marnik, who are currently seeing on screen. Remember, of course, Fabio and Tim Marnik were once teammates. They won the Constructors together as well back in Season 6, as well as that same race at Paul Ricard, when Fratic got himself banned for that final round, hence why Nick Flies ended up taking the seat for that last race, which led, of course, to the championship being decided. Hayden Gullis, though, there he is on screen, 3/10 away from Rasin Chai and closing up to the back of the Alpine on the run down through towards the Casio Triangle chicane once more as they now rise downhill, or certainly descend downhill on lap 42. Soon to begin their next lap, indeed, of this 53-lap occasion, and the long straight line speed certainly favouring Hayden Gullis down this long straight, heading down in towards turn 1. Gullis now moves into 4th and now only 2.8 away from Lolin Ober, and by the time they've boxed, I've got a feeling that with the strategy in mind, Gullis will surely take the race lead.
Yeah, this is his race lead now to try and pull through the advantage of course, if the front three decide to box, they could try and stick it out. Don't forget, if they feel confident on their tyres, I mean, if anyone's going to be able to do that, it will be Tom. He's done 25 laps at the moment compared to Gillen's 31. There's 6 laps of advantage. If he feels safe enough to go for it, we might be able to see it. We're hearing word from Josh in Clipper Corner. Tom's just hit 60% wear.
Yeah. So it's getting to that time now where they'll maybe look to make a change. So they're just trying to ensure that they have plenty of soft tyres at their disposal, plenty of soft tyre wear to take them to the end of the race and be competitive. They don't want to see the fall off at all before the end of the race when the checkered flag comes out. But Hayden Gullis, being on those fresher medium tyres, he's only used them for the last 7 laps, has now found himself in 4th place. His last lap was also a 1:29.8 as well, so he's not lost any pace at all. If anything, this last lap was faster than his lap prior by around about half a second, which is extraordinary. And the driver in front of him, of course, Lolin Ober, lapping in the 1:30.6s as it stands. So that is an extraordinary amount of time that he is gaining per lap at the moment, and it won't be long before he's on the tail of the Haas now as they look to stretch uphill through the S sections, where we're watching now this battle unfold between Tom and Alex Gillen. Remember, of course, Tim Mardik, who was in 3rd, now down in 8th since moving on to the soft tyres. He's keeping Formula Kai company as they now look to dice over that P7, and Tim Mardik moves up into 7th as well in pursuit of this race lead advantage. Remember, the top end still needs to pit. Tom needs to box. So does Alex Gillen. Lolin Ober also needing to, well, he doesn't need to box now because he is on reasonably fresh medium tyres, but he's got Hayden Gullis only 1.5 seconds away from him.
Certainly does. I would not like to have Hayden Gullis in my rearview mirrors for this long, especially when there's a minimal tyre difference between the two. 1 lap difference between Gullis and Lolin Ober as well, as we head in towards the hairpin and then up towards Spoon Cove. Yellow flag further forward. Looks like one of the Red Bulls going slow. Cal the Dragon, I think, might have pounced on one and unfortunately had a bit of a slow moment on track.
Yeah, I think a little moment of error there from Cal the Dragon, which led to that brief yellow period heading through out to Spoon Curve, down the long straight out of turn 14 in towards sector 3, but nothing that will concern the race leaders so far. Tom heading down in towards the next S, as apparently we're hearing that Alex Gillen might not be considering a pit stop at the moment. He's going to look to try and take this to the end, so he's going to stay out. Tom is coming into the box, but I think Gillen is going to try and go to the end here on very well used medium tyres, though. Saying that, 33 laps, let's see if he can do it, as now we watch Tom exchange those mediums for soft tyres. Doesn't want to be held up for too long. Gullis moving through into 3rd as well, with Lolin Ober in 2nd on his relatively fresh medium tyres. They're only a lap added to him on top of Gullis's. Gullis has done 9 laps. Lolin Ober has done 10 laps. There is Hayden now, chasing after Lolin Ober. He's got 1.4 seconds to find before he can attack the Haas over P2 as the yellow flags come out again at the Casio Triangle chicane.
In towards turn 1 as well. It looks like there could have been an interesting situation. I think a couple of drivers just going slow in Formula Karim. Nick Flies actually was the one causing some carnage alongside, I believe, Cal the Dragon, just all mixed up in that first sector. Now all eyes back to Hayden Gullis, yet to get a win in the F1 Great Series. 1.2 seconds off the back of Lolin Ober. Alex Gillen could be in a position here to win this race, but of course he's trying to carry aging tyres through this Grand Prix, and he's got to keep putting in the consistent laps, which is so easy to just dip a tyre in the grass and lose that car.
Of course, Hayden Gullis has never ever won in the EA Sports F1 Creator Series before. Obviously, Alex Gillen not boxing going to the end, which now requires that Hayden Gullis tries to close the gap. He needs to, well, he's got 10 seconds to find. We'll need to ideally do maybe around 1.2 seconds a lap in order to catch Alex Gillen, but that won't be too difficult considering the amount of wear that are on Gillen's tyres right now. 34 laps against his name on those medium tyres, with Lolinoba on 11 lap old mediums, Hayden Gullis on 10 lap old mediums, Rasin Chai also with them as well, only just under half a second, now 2/10 away coming into turn 1 this time. Tom has moved past Tiamat Marduk on his fresh softs. That's not a surprise, but if they're sensible, if Tiamat Marduk is sensible, he'll use Tom for that DRS. This race just got interesting, but I would say that it's probably going to be settled between this top 4, TK.
I think it certainly will. Chai, Gullis, Lolinoba or Gillen, which way is this race going to tip? And I think the question will come down to, can Gillen make those tyres last? Because at the moment he's holding the advantage that he holds over Lolinoba and Hayden Gullis as well. The gap between themselves has dropped from Gullis to Lolinoba. Lolinoba isn't making as much inroad to Gillen as he would have liked. I can imagine his tyres are probably around the 70% wear mark, must be in puncture range over the next 8 laps. And I think he'll be keeping a close eye to his telemetry to keep himself updated.
Yeah, well, Tom has gone purple in the first sector now on his fresh softs, and he's 2.7 away from Meraki so far. Gillen's last lap was a 1:30.9, which was, incidentally, around 0.6 slower than Lolinoba in second place, and Hayden Gullis by extension did a 1:30.2. Tom, though, with a purple middle sector, looking to usher in his fastest lap of the race so far. We'll wait and see whether he can deliver that. It's a personal best, though, for Hayden Gullis and for Rasin Chai, who are currently sat 3rd and 4th in that middle sector, so they're all working to close the gap on Alex Gillen. It's now 8.1. Remember, that gap was beyond 10 seconds only a lap or so ago, around 2 laps to go anyway. It's now 8.2 as Lolinoba works to drive it down.
Yeah, he's going to try everything over the next few laps. Gullis has got to get past Lolinoba if he wants to try and challenge for this race win. The more time he spends behind the Italian, the more time he's losing out on potentially digging into Gillen's advantage.
Yep, certainly is. 8 seconds now between Gillen and Lolinoba. 3/10 between Gullis and Lolinoba, who's just quite happy to get a tow at the moment as they now race through the second of the Degners here on lap 46 of 53. Again, the seconds are starting to come down as we now watch them fly uphill through towards turn 11. And then pirouetting as Nick Flies retires. We did see a puff of smoke and a safety car. Oh my goodness me. Well, a safety car has now been brought out here on lap 46, and Lolinoba trying to build the gap between himself and Hayden Gullis straight away. Now this has opened many doors across this grid. They'll all be bunched up together. The one McLaren that got it wrong. And can I just add as well, this has brought Formula Karim into this fight as well, as we now watch them come out of Spoon Curve. Well, I tell you what, drama, TK. It's just stepped up a notch.
Then he has indeed. Question is, what tyres is everybody going to go on to? And I'm just going to say this rather out loud. I don't think that's possible on controller, what Hayden Gullis is just doing. You can't flick the wheel quite possibly that quickly to get the car to shake, but I'm sure we'll see what tyres people pit onto. Gillen comes into the pits as to be expected as he drifts around the exit of the Casio Triangle. I've never seen anyone drift the Casio Triangle before.
No, not at all coming into the pits, so in fact everyone is coming in. So far anyway, Alex Gillen, Lolinoba, Hayden Gullis, Rasin Chai, Tom, Tiamat Marduk also coming into the box as well. I can only imagine that it's going to be a soft tyre sprint to the checkered flag. As now Hayden Gullis puts on soft tyres. Adam Sanderson with a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is a disaster for the Mercedes driver, as now everyone else also flurries into the box. Now Alex Gillen removing those 36 lap old medium tyres. He's had such a huge stint in on that tyre compound. Now comes back out on fresh softs, with Scott Taylor also making a change. Ricky 03 in the pits, so Safso, Formula Karim, and Cal the Dragon currently out on track still, but a lap down on 4 lap old soft tyres himself, as now they make their way through the first sector now under safety car conditions. Let's head across and speak to Josh, who has some updates for us. Josh, what's new?
Yeah, well, this is the cause of the safety car. Nick Flies making his way through the first sector. It's already sliding, actually. I didn't even realize that. Really struggling on the curves. I think he's on old medium tyres. And it's actually pretty much the exact same thing as what happened in qualifying for Nick Flies, except this time, unfortunately, he ends up in the barriers. The McLaren driver, unfortunately, race coming to an end, about 10 laps to go. It's unfortunate for him getting almost the whole way there and just not quite making it in the end. We've got this overtake as well from GB if it wants to load. going in towards the Casio triangle. A little bit way back from Infratic, but dives to the inside, just about keeps out the back of his teammate and gets himself up into P10. So a nice move there from the Aston Martin driver. I think we've got one or two more clips here as well. This was Formula Kai earlier on, picking up some damage. Unfortunately, GB just touched the curb a little bit on the outside there, slowed him down into turn one. And yeah, it's a really small touch, but that was enough to give Formula Kai damage. We have this clip here as well. This is Matty D and Scott Taylor into 130R. Matty D trying to make the overtake on the Haas driver. Bit of contact there, and this was where Matty D picked up the first of many bouts of wing damage for the Red Bull driver. Yeah, unfortunate for him, that small contact really unfortunate. But fortunately, I guess he stayed in the race. He's still running, albeit a lap down.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Josh. Obviously, that's what led to him dropping down the order, effectively being disconnected to the back of the field. We thank you, Josh, for that. Really appreciate your insight. And obviously, we'll look forward to seeing how this is going to unfold at the end of the race with the safety car being out. Immensely dramatic so far here in this Japanese Grand Prix. Very exciting. We hope that you are all enjoying yourself there in the live chats. We certainly are, TK, aren't we? Lap 48 of 53, effectively what could yet be a 3 to 4 lap dash to the checkered flag. I mean, wow. Alex Gillen in front, but now that advantage has gone, and he has got a very, very fast Lolin Ober, Hayden Gullis, Rasin Chai, and Meraki. Tiemet Malik part of this. Tom is not out of this either. Maybe a second win for the Aston Martin of GB as well.
Maybe so. I think we can't discount anything at the moment. That's what we've got to lay the foundation. The slate has been wiped clean. Everybody is on equal footing as we head in towards this final little sprint. And as you alluded to, I think it will be a 4 or 5 lap sprint to the end of this race. And I think my money, we're not talking predictions yet, but I'm going to get an early prediction in there. I think Hayden's going to win this.
I think you could be right. I mean, the pace that he's shown, certainly here in Suzuka, is mind-blowing. I mean, he hasn't got the fastest lap anymore, I can tell you that much. Formula Karim has actually got the pleasure of that. And the thing with Formula Karim at the moment is that he does he has had that penalty removed. He has no longer got the time penalty against his name. So he's down in 15th. It's only one position below from where he started the race. He is very closely compacted behind Ricky 03, Scott Taylor and Fratic. He's going to be knifing his way through these drivers in a bid to at least scoop as many points as he can. I certainly wouldn't rule him out. We could yet see some disasters in the closing stages of this race, but it's in Gillen's hands for now. It's now an equal footing across all drivers from Ps1 all the way down to Ps15. They've only got a lap on their tyres. And I must say, answer on a postcard, please, folks. Let us know in the live chat who you think's going to take this one. It's certainly going to be a monumental fight to the bitter end of this Japanese Grand Prix in the EA Sports F1 Creator Series. Alex Gillen is going to lead them through the Casio Triangle chicane. And I'd imagine for the final time, as they now venture downhill through towards this long straight before venturing into turn one, is pedal to the metal for the third time in this race now, and Gillen getting a good restart. Lolin Ober a little bit sunken there, and now Hayden Gullis just swarming all over the back of him as they now rush through towards turns one and fly out of turns two. It's Gillen who leads. Lolin Ober getting a little closer as they come out through towards turn three and turn four, with him behind Meraki in fifth, just behind Rasin Chai, met with Tiemet Marduk on his tail in sixth place, as now we watch them all rise uphill through towards Dunlop Corner here on lap 49. We're coming into the bitter end, the bitter stages of this Japanese race, and Gillen is carrying all the points, albeit for now.
Certainly is indeed. 4.5 laps to go in this Japanese Grand Prix. It's a mini sprint to pull us through to the end. I think Hayden Gullis looking almighty. I think he thought about a move down the inside of the hairpin there. It wasn't quite close enough to the back of Lolin Ober, but Lolin Ober and Gillen could have their own little battle here as they head through 200R up towards Spoon Curve. The Italian and the Brit once again reunited on track.
It only takes one mistake, only one costly move just to take your race win opportunities away. But Alex Gillen looking to hold all the cards, looking to take it from safety car to the checkered flag in order to bring home this astonishing race and put it in his back pocket for yet another win in the Creator Series in what could be his 22nd. As though we watch them come down towards the Casio Triangle chicane. A little look down the inside from Hayden Gullis, all but briefly firing that warning shot as now they descend downhill once more to begin lap 50 as we enter half a century territory. And now Lolin Ober on the tail of Alex Gillen now. They're going to go wheel to wheel as Karim takes the fastest lap on the run in towards the first corner. Later on on the brakes from Alex Gillen, who defends it now, and he needs to do this for the next 3 or so laps in order to bring the W home. But look at Hayden Gullis all over the back of Lolinova as they jettison uphill.
Don't forget, Lolinova will have DRS next time around. Didn't get it on the run down. It may have been enabled, but that detection point is way before we head in towards the Casio Triangle. That's the key point. Hayden Gullis not standing on ceremony here. He thought about another move into towards the first Degner, but just waits in behind.
Yeah, lovely look there from Hayden Lee as they now make their way into the hairpin. He's going to go down the inside, a little look. Decided not to in the end. Lolinova just shutting that door just a little bit here on lap 50 of 53. It is still Alex Gillen, though, in control and in charge. But for how much longer? There are plenty of worthy individuals waiting for their opportunities in behind. Lolinova, who has done an almighty job of keeping this Williams at bay as they now fly out of Spoon Curve, out of turn 14 and down the hill once more. Rasin Chai also looking to come into this. Meraki as well, as now they look to dodge and weave down through towards 130R once again. And this time the inside line for Hayden Gullis, who gets on the curb and gets all squarely, but wheel to wheel now with the hassle the run into the Casio Triangle chicane. Work this one out, folks, but it's Gullis. Gullis in the second, and now chasing after Alex Gillen. It's going to be a dice between these two. DRS open now for Hayden Gullis on the run in towards turn 1. Back comes Lolinova, also coming into this Rasin Chai. They come into the first corner. Lolinova takes P2 back, and Rasin Chai forced to remain behind Gullis. But what a moment here coming in to lap 51.
That was one of the most outrageous saves on controller I've ever seen in my commentary career so far. I've never seen anybody able to hold the car that well when using a controller. Fair play to Hayden Gullis. He's on something completely different this afternoon. He has looked from race start like a completely different man. As we make our way through 51 and 53, 2.5 laps to go, I think he still has potential in the bag.
Pushed and prodded all the way. Lolinova trying to defend vehemently, but is unable to against this assault. Or is he? Because he's managed to marshal off the threat from Gullis once again. Coming out of turn 11, Gullis has been asking major questions of the Italian throughout the entirety of the last 2 laps so far. As we now watch them come through Spoon Curve again, it's Gillen who still leads. 4 tenths to nearly 5 tenths to the good. He's going to look to take this to the flag right from the safety car. He went on that mammoth stint on 36 lap-old medium tyres and now rushing in towards 130R once again. He's looking set to take them through into lap 52. But Hayden Gullis has proven to be certainly someone not to be trifled with. Meraki coming into this fight as well. Not to mention the Alpine of Rasin Chai, a former champion here in the Creator Series as well, looking to return himself to point supremacy here once more, this time in Japan, as now Lolinova gains closer, moves up the inside late in the day, but late on the brakes from Alex Gillen to defend the place that was so close to contact as Cal the Dragon retires from the race.
This is fantastic racing at its absolute best. We've got 2 laps of racing to go here in Japan. Alex Gillen tried to send it, or tried to hold it around the outside, was successful. I think Lolinova, if he wants this race win, is going to have to be braver in towards turn number 1. But look at this, Gullis essentially bump drafting the Italian through the 2 Degner curves.
Yeah, it certainly is. Now on the run up through towards the hairpin, up towards turn 11. It's starting to spice up now. Penultimate lap of the race here on lap 52 as they now look to rise, coming out of this hairpin bend and up the hill through towards Spoon Curve. This has been a monumental fight. This final little sprint after the safety car is now Gullis once again goes hunting. He knows he has to get the move done sooner rather than later to be in contest for this race win, but still Lolinova is defying him. It's been an absolutely monstrous drive here from Lolinova, but equally for Gullis as they now make their way through towards 130R. Gillen in front still, but for how much longer? Here comes Gullis now at the inside, and he might go 2 for 2 as he makes his way down through towards the Casio Triangle and nose in front as Gillen looks to renege the position, coming through it towards the final 2 corners to then venture onto the final lap. It's wheel to wheel between Gillen and Gullis, heading down through towards turn 1 into Lolinova into this fight as well. 3 wide, coming in towards turn 1 now, and Lolinova takes the lead of the race for the first time in a long time in the Creator Series, and now on the final lap will look to take this home.
Lolinova was patient. He bided his time there. He waited for Gillen to get caught up with Hayden Gullis behind. Gullis tried to send it down the inside. I think he sent the move just a little bit too early. Didn't benefit from the DRS as they headed down the start-finish straight, and that could have been to his demise, but there's still an opportunity as we head through the final lap in towards 130R. We've seen him like to make moves there on the last few laps. Will we see it again from Hayden Gullis? But we've got a few corners before we get to that crucial moment. Lolinoba leads from Gillen from Gullis. Our top three at the moment, but don't count out Meraki. He's pulled his way through as well.
Well, ever since the safety car, Gullis has remained in third place, has been unable to take the victory, but Gillen now looking for a return and gets it all wrong. Coming into the spoon curve hairpin, he led a majority stint here in this race, but one mistake, as I said before, has cost him that P2 and at least a stab at P1 for now. Now it's all down to this. Gullis has got Gillen in behind as well, coming through 130R, but Lolinoba, who's looking to once again take a race win. He won back in Miami in the second race. Wheel to wheel between Gullis and Gillen on the escape coming out of the chicane, but it's Lolinoba in Italian fashion, a Japanese Grand Prix win there for the Italian driver. Lolinoba takes victory. It's Meraki finishing in third. Alex Gillen loses out down to fourth, with Hayden Gullis coming home in a brilliant P2. Tim Marduk, championship leader, in fifth. Further down as well, plenty of other drivers fighting over the latter positions, but wow, what a phenomenal race, TK. Digest that one.
That is one of those for the ages. Driver of the day on the screen goes to Hayden Gullis. I need to stop mixing my words up. It's been a thing all throughout this broadcast as well. But driver of the day goes to Hayden Gullis, and of course, rightfully so, all the way from P19 on the grid.
Absolutely. Lolinoba with a fantastic P1 visit. Welcome back to the top, Lolinoba. He has certainly tried before. He won back at Miami in race one after he went dicing with Formula Karim over that stint coming across the line. They went wheel to wheel. Lolinoba, though, back on top once more. I can only imagine his reaction on his stream right now, and I'm sure his fans are delighted. It's Lolinoba, your race winner here at Japan, with Hayden Gullis in second place. What a performance from Gullis. Meraki in third. Alex Gillen in fourth as well. I think my driver of the day has got to be Alex Gillen, in a way, I think, for that monstrous stint on the medium tyres. Tim Marduk in fifth, as well with GB in sixth. Formula Kai in seventh, with that guy Vince eighth. Then ninth, Formula Karim. Riccio 310th. Scott Taylor, Noiguera in Fratic Zafso. Adam Sanderson rounds out the 15th places. And then Rasin Chai, Tom, Cal the Dragon. We lost Nick Flies and F1 Alex as well. But goodness me, what a moment, what a battle. Truly a pleasure to watch. I mean, credit to I think Lolinoba here, Tom. I mean, he wasn't always the favourite in that fight. He had cars behind him. He was pressurised by Gullis ever since the safety car came to an end. But not only was he in control of that situation, you know, he defied Gullis at every turn. He then had something a little extra to challenge Alex Gillen. And bear in mind, they were all on an equal footing on soft tyres. What a performance.
It was a fantastic driver. He was patient, and that's what really paid off for him at the end. We saw the mistakes start to creep in from Alex Gillen in the final couple of laps. Of course, quite infamously, where it went wide spoon curve there. I think the pressure might have just mounted up a little bit too much, and that is what allowed him to try and pull his way through. Lolinoba, the patience game worked.
It certainly did. We'll move across, though, to Clipbook. Let's go have a little chat with Josh just prior, before we get into the other little bits and pieces. But Josh, give us some insight. What's happened?
Yeah, well, last lap of the race, Alpine had a bit of a bottle. You might have noticed that both of the Alpine drivers DNF'd coming here into turn, I don't actually know, corner numbers, into the Casio triangle. Tom fighting has a bit of a mistake there, and then a bit of a tap from the rear end, unfortunately spins him around, and then here comes Rasin Chai. And unfortunately, both Alpines out at the final corner on the final lap of the race. Really unfortunate for them, losing out on a lot of points there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a massive contrast in comparison to how they qualified. Massive drama indeed from both of them, guys. But honestly, what a performance, certainly from all drivers concerned. Lolinoba, though, with some big points that will be going to his name. We will, of course, have a look at the standings a little bit later on. We'll keep you posted when they are updated, and we'll have a little look at them just to see where everything stacks before we head to Bahrain next time around. But, yeah, phenomenal display. I mean, what does this mean now for the championship, Tom? I mean, there were still big points won for Tim Marduk. It looks like the championship fight might have taken a little bit of a twist. While Karim did well to fight back, do you think that this could prove to be a decisive moment in the championship?
I think it's one we'll look back on at the end of the season. Should one of them come out victorious by only a few points, it'll be kind of that moment that could have happened. There was so much change. Karim looked so strong. Obviously, we had that hard tire debacle. Had to change the front wing as well. I think if Ben goes on to win the championship by only a couple of points, this will be the race we look back to.
Yeah, I think so. And Josh, what were your thoughts on that? I mean, obviously there's, it's been a huge battle between Karim and Tim Etmarduk all season long. I mean, obviously advantage today, Tim Etmarduk, but it wasn't the race win. So do you think that this is Ben not taking necessarily the right amount of opportunity here, given the fact that Karim, had his moment and obviously sank into the bottom 10 for a brief spell?
Yeah, I mean, given that Karim did have that mistake, you'd expect Ben probably should have been a bit further up the field, trying to fight out for that race win on those final few laps. He was there or thereabouts, but I mean, that could be a championship deciding moment if Karim can go on a good run of form in these final few rounds. That the fact that Ben hasn't won today could be what decides it.
Yeah, it could well be. We'll have to wait and see whether that is the big factor. And also, we've got to give credit to Alex Gillen as well, Tom. I mean, what a middle stint, 36 laps on those medium tyres. I mean, we heard from Tom saying that he managed to get the 20 laps on the mediums at least, around. Obviously, not missing the hard tyres clearly, but for Alex, that was a huge stint in that middle stint.
Absolutely incredible, and he's done so well to look after the tyres there. I think it goes a little bit understated quite how difficult that is, especially at Japan, where the tyres are under so much stress through every twist and turn. To do 36 laps, I think when I checked in with Josh around 35 laps in, he was only on about 60% wear, or hadn't quite hit 60% yet. And that is just so understated in what saved it, or what could have saved his race.
Yeah, no, I think so. We are going to hear if we're going to have some interviews as well, guys, so do bear with us. We're just waiting for the drivers to get themselves into Parc Fermé in this case. It does happen. This also happens in the real life side of motorsport as well. I can attest to that. But yeah, incredible. Obviously now we're moving to Bahrain next time around, Josh. We're going from, we are here and they are actually here. So we'll move across now to our first interview. Why not? We'll start. We're kicking off first and foremost with Hayden Gullis. Let's have a little chat and find out just a little bit behind that extraordinary performance that we witnessed already. Hayden, can you hear us?
Hello. Hello, boys.
How you doing? What
Honestly,
a performance.
My heart has never been pounding so much in my life. My legs were shaking. The best drive I think that car has ever seen.
I can agree with that.
Come down with it. It's insane.
I can imagine. I mean, I just talk to us about the stints. I mean, I wasn't sure about that middle soft tyre stint. I must be honest. I was a little worried because we saw you were on 9-lap-old softs, but you were still continuing at a very strong pace, bumping out lap after lap, really starting to eat away at the delta. It just seemed to be a well-measured performance from the very start. And I must say, I was a little nervous after qualifying, after the retirement.
Yeah, so game plan was usual with qualifying. Just, go get my dinner after Q1, because qualifying doesn't really mean too much in Creator Series. I didn't really get a plan because I accidentally DNF'd because I'm on a controller for this week. So after quali, I decided instead of continuing with the pad, I'd make another switch and subbed in two-time champion Brendan Lee. So, yeah, I think it worked out pretty well for me.
It definitely did. I mean, just goes to show you might not be the best on track. Though I will say you gave off some really good, some great moments. I think back at Spa, I think we were hailing your big performance as well back then. But, to sub in there and use your delegation skills to bring in Brendan Lee, did he do what you expected him to do, I think, in that moment?
The first few laps, right, it was outrageous. The driving standards were terrible. He killed Zafso in the hairpin at one point. I was like, oh no. But to be fair, I think he sold it very well for like the first 20 laps, because those are sort of things that I would do out on track. I don't think anyone suspected. Then we started to pump in the lap times, and then I was listening to a lot of VCs and a lot of people's streams, and some people were starting to get a little bit of win and be like, nah, there's no way it's Hayden. But because of the tyre deficit, a few of them were just like, oh, maybe I've just got tyre wear, or maybe because I've got the front wing damage, that's why. And I think a few people can really definitely... I don't think it was a secret by the last 20 laps, to be honest. I think everyone knew.
Yeah. Well, any comments on Fabio's comments in the live chat on Twitch, saying that he's going to be bringing in Nicholas Longuet or Barry Burmans to race in the Ferrari?
Go for it. Let's have an esports takeover.
Hayden, congratulations. What a performance. Podium for the, I think, the second time in the series.
I can only really thank Brendan, who is here at the moment. So thank you, Brendan, for your incredible performance. And both of our hearts were racing at the end, Brendan.
Thank you for the tutoring and the coaching behind the scenes.
Am I going down in history as the worst engineer you've ever had?
Oh no, don't you worry about that.
One point he asked, what lap did we box? I was like, I don't know, mate. I don't remember.
Well, listen, hey, Brendan, I got to say, it'd be rude not to ask you about this, because this is a rare appearance from an ex-F1 sim racing driver to take part in the Creator Series. Just talk us through it. Did you have fun out there?
To be honest, mate, I had a cracking time. Like, it was actually so good. No, it was a good laugh. I think it's always nice to be able to just drive the game for fun, and yeah, this is what the series is for. It's having a bit of fun. So yeah, it was a really good time.
Yeah, brilliant. Any comments from you, TK, as well?
Well, I was just going to, since he was so kind to raid us, and I thought I'd just remind Fabio of Brendan's last comments. This series is for fun. Remember? No, it's
good
fantastic.
point. Good point, TK.
I don't know, I think there's going to be a
fantastic
few drivers at the front who are going to be annoyed about Brendan saying he was driving for fun while they were absolutely sweating it.
Yeah, Brendan's broken all their hearts. It's amazing, brilliant, incredible. Well, congratulations, both of you. I mean, what a result! Huge for Williams, and we'll see you next time, I'm sure. We look forward to seeing you next time as well, Brendan.
Yes.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
No, that's it. Can confirm that Brendan's got the seat at Williams going forward. There we go. All right, we'll see you at Sakhir.
Thank you, boys.
See you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's Brendan Lee and Hayden Gillis, everybody. What a performance, has to be said. One that I could probably expect, and I can say that is another championship I've commentated on Brendan Lee on now to add to PSGL and the F1 Sim Racing World Championship and WR as well. So yeah, we're going to probably move on. Have we got more interviews? Just trying to find out. We got Meraki. Yeah, let's chat to Meraki, because he's had an extraordinary race, because once more he sleuthed his way into the podium places. And we spoke about this prior to the race as well, TK. He's with us now. Meraki, another extraordinary drive. You've got a smile on your face. You had to deal with a Williams in front of you, though, that was being driven by one Hayden Lee.
Yeah. There may have been some choice words when they did a little bit of wheel banging, when I didn't know it was Brendan Lee. And then when I figured it out, I was like, "Go on, Brendan, drag me along." And then,
Brilliant.
yeah.
Hey, well, listen, this is another one of those bizarre podium visits for you, isn't it? Because you started right from the back of the grid again. Obviously, you were kind of scuppered by your own teammate. I'm still not sure if it was intentional by Matty D to stick you at the back.
No, it wasn't. It
wasn't, right? Okay, that's fine.
He's just slow.
Yeah, but just talk about our journey from just throwing snowballs now, aren't we? Yeah, literally from the bottom to the top. What a drive, can I just say? And strategy. Well, the strategy was on point, obviously.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly, really, with that safety car at the end. But I can guarantee you now that first half of the race, I was just sulking the entire time because everything was going against me, and then the safety cars worked for me, I guess, and it's kind of what just transformed my race at the end, and we did absolutely everything right to get the podium, really. So I'm counting this as P2. I'm counting this as a P2.
Yeah. I mean, it was a brilliant result. Matty's just come out and said next race he's putting you in the wall, apparently. So he obviously heard what you said. TK, have you got anything to ask Meraki as well?
I feel like I owe Meraki an apology, because at the start of this broadcast, I may have referred to you as a bit of a pest come races like this in the Creator Series. You're always there. You're always up there. But we don't necessarily know how you got there. But you...
Oh, no, neither do I.
Yeah. Surprisingly, Matty D agrees with you as well, Tom Knight, I think. No surprise. Meraki, what a performance, mate. Honestly, stellar.
Thank you.
Stellar. What are your thoughts heading to Bahrain? We've got a double header coming up.
I mean, double the points, really. So if one race goes wrong, then there's always the chance to recover it in the second one. So I kind of like double headers. I normally have one good race in double headers, I would say. So we're going to see.
I'm definitely not counting you out. I mean, that's another podium to add to the locker. I think that's your third this season, actually. After 2 P2s, you've added a P3 now. So yeah, well done you. We'll see you next time when we go to Sakhir.
Thank you. Still no win.
Still no
win.
Yeah, it's all right. Keep working at it. You might get one day.
Maybe.
Thank you very much.
Later. Thank you.
Thank you, Meraki. Thank you for joining us. Now we've got only one more voice to hear from. I'm not sure whether he's here, but I'm going to say he is anyway. Lolinoba. Here he is, the man, the Italian legend, and certainly a superstar in the mind's eye of everybody here in the Creator Series, much like his dedicated Italian fan base. Lolinoba, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. Hello?
Hello, welcome.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. A victor again since Miami as well. A tremendous visit. Well done, you. Another podium as well. You are moving your way through this championship.
Yeah. I'm really surprised to beat Adon today. Adon Lee, something like that. I don't remember the surname. But yeah, I win. At the start, I think I can get maybe P7, not P1. But was really a good race. Just the chat called me an incredible undercut. Destroyed but with a safety car, but I think Alex want to go to the end. So it was really a good race for me, for Alex, for Adon Lee, and for congratulations for Meraki for the podium.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite an extraordinary final stint for you because everyone obviously got pushed onto the soft tyres for the last portion of the race. You had a situation where, you had to try and get past Alex Gillen, but you also had Brendan Lee behind you, which is obviously going to be very difficult to deal with. And with all that considered, you must have thought, well, I'm not going to be able to get the win here because I've got Brendan Lee to worry about. Did you ever think the win was on the cards?
Yeah, it's incredible to beat with equally machine an esports driver. Was really amazing.
Everything was against
Nico.
you.
Yeah, I'm feeling like Nico Rosberg. Was amazing.
Brilliant. Tom, any questions from you?
I don't. Just a fantastic drive from you, Lonnie, as well. I've heard whisperings in my ear that people are asking that we get the segment back where the winner has to sing their national anthem.
Yeah.
You know what that means?
Yeah.
Come on.
Now I only need to win a championship like Rosberg. This is my last part of the creator. After I can leave.
Yeah, fair enough. Thoughts on Bahrain? Double header coming up.
Yeah, I think I can call Jarno for Bahrain if it's possible because I can do like P22.
Brilliant stuff. And anything you want to say to your fans in Italian?
Forza ragazzi, abbiamo vinto! Abbiamo vinto! Let's go!
Love to hear it. Lolin over, everybody. What a superstar. Congratulations, Lolly, and we'll see you at Bahrain.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Goodbye, Lolin over. What
Bye-bye.
what a human being. Phenomenal guy. Honestly, love him to bits. Grazie, Lolly. Honestly, can't wait for Bahrain to come up, TK. We've got a very exciting calendar still to come. We'll take a quick look at the calendar now just before we round off the show and just remind you of where we're going for the rest of the season. It is still a very spicy affair. The championship's still up for grabs. We've just concluded live here at Japan here on April 5th. We move on April 12th now to the next frontier. We're going to be moving to Bahrain for a double header where there will be extra points to be decided at Sakhir. Then we are heading on round 12 to Jeddah, where of course we will be meeting again at Saudi, and then the Mystery GP. We don't know where we're going for that one, but it's a sprint race weekend, so anything goes. Still a mystery as to where the championship's going to go, TK. We just don't know.
Certainly don't at all. And of course, we've still got 4 full race points available to come to our drivers. And speaking of points and how they look, these are our driver standings.
Here they are. Tim Etmalik still the championship leader, but just look at the points gap now between him and Formula Karim. Despite Karim dropping to the rear end, though, he did manage to secure a few points against his name, but that gap has increased. Alex Gillen down in third as well after a major result. He got it wrong, though, a little bit, didn't he, coming through Spoon Curve. 182 points down, level with Meraki so far, with GB68 in fifth as well on 174. Lolin Ober has shot himself into P6 ahead of Rasin Chai after scooping up some big points as well, increasing that gap just a little bit from Rasin Chai, I should say. It's 117 points for the Alpine. That guy Vince in 8th on 75. Formula Kai 3 points behind him on 72. Noiguera in 10th on 71. Ricky 03, tough day at the office for him, but 71 points for him. Infratic on 58. Zapso on 49. Hayden Gullis after that magnificent result coming through to the end of this race with Brendan Lee at the wheel on 48 points now, with Nick Flies in 15th place. Tom in 16th after the dismay for Alpine. They currently remain on 34 with Adam Sanderson on joint points with Matati on 31, Scott Taylor on 30, Grid Jokes in 20th place in reserve. But folks, what a weekend it has been. We'll take you through the team standings as well. Mercedes still on 268 after gaining points and consolidating that top spot in first, with McLaren in second. We then have Aston Martin in third on 254 points. It is only between those three, we would think, for the battle over the team's title. So we'll wait and see how that unfolds when we head to the end of the season. We're now reunited as a three as well. We'll talk about best moments, I think, before we close things out. I'm going to start with you, Josh, because you've just arrived with us. What was your favourite moment from the race today?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I think Brendan jumping in, I think that's really going to be a highlight for many people. It's a really funny storyline, and seeing how the race unfolded with that dynamic as well. I think that was definitely one of the highlights.
Some would call it an Easter egg, wouldn't they, seeing as we're at that time of year. Tom Knight, what have you got for us?
I think it's a very similar situation, but not Brendan actually hopping in. It's that moment of realization where we've started going, oh, that could actually be Hayden. He's struggling out there a little bit. The 360 was probably something he'd do. And we got halfway through and went, that send was kind of suspicious. That save was a little bit suspicious. No, that's definitely Brendan.
Yeah, I would say that Brendan has been working on those donuts since the end of the F1 Esports Championship, where we saw him doing it at the end of Abu Dhabi. Driver of the days. Should we talk about this? Are we going with Brendan Lee all around?
Are we allowed to do Brendan Lee?
I don't know.
I'm going to say Brendan Lee. If we're allowed to say Brendan, I'm giving it to Brendan Lee.
Josh Richards, what about you?
Oh, I can't disagree with that.
All three for Brendan Lee. So there we go. That's your driver of the day here at Japan Suzuka. Folks at home, for us, you've been our viewers of the day. We really appreciate every single one of you for tuning in on Twitch, YouTube, and of course TikTok. Please make sure you follow all the channels. If you've been tuning in on Twitch, big hello to you guys. Leave a follow. Stay up to date with the Creator Series when we go live as well. If you've been tuning in on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and also leave a like. Stay up to date with all the videos that get posted, highlights, you name it, reels, you name it. They all get posted. And stay tuned as well for Scotty Design's meme recap, which we all enjoy, and it always sends us certainly reaching, or certainly at least some of us crying, others laughing, crying with laughter, I'd like to think, but yeah, incredible. If you want to check us out on TikTok, you can. It's a fairly new platform for us. Hello to everyone on TikTok. Please make sure you leave a like on the stream and also leave a follow. That is most important. Stay up to date with the reels that get posted on there. And if you've enjoyed what you've listened to or seen, you can check us out as well as commentators. Josh, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me commentating over on my Twitch channel, It's Chocolate, or over on the STR official Twitch channel as well.
And Tom Knight?
Check me out on pretty much every single social media I'm at. They call me TK.
They do call him TK. I call him TK too. You can find me on social media at George Morgan TV as well, folks, on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, every platform. It's always the same at George Morgan TV. You can check out the Creator Series at F1 Creator Series, as I said before, on all social media platforms. Big thank you to our partners, EA Sports F1 and IMB Racewear. We've only got a few rounds left to go, and then EA Sports F1 25 gets released, where we send this whole soiree round again. But from all of us here tonight at Suzuka Japan, we'll see you next time at Bahrain. Goodbye.